I talk about idle animations all the freaking time, but this idle animation is so freaking cool. I think it personifies Dan Heng a lot, right? The idea that like he is kind of like sometimes very like tranquil and calm and focused, so he can catch his leaf, but as soon as he catches his leaf, he still sees the beauty in it. So there's like this really kind of like very focused analytical nature to Dan Heng, while also a very emotional side of Dan Heng too that can see the beauty in all these things as well. And I think it's honestly like a really, really great way of showing that animation. I know I'm like analyzing an idle animation, but I don't know, I really like it. Hello baby gangsters, this is Calvin, also known as Wormer, and this is my first ever playthrough of Honkai Star Rail. We are still going through, or I guess starting to go through, this area with Hyacinth and Dan Heng. And I'm guessing because we're back in the Grove, we're probably going to find out some information about the Black Tide, the stuff that happened with the attack. Everyone has a job to do here in Amphoreus, and we're going to have to, like, see it through. It's such a beautiful location of the Grove. I actually love it so much. It's very fantasy novel style kind of, like, area. It's is there... Okay, I was thinking that maybe it's on the map, but no, I think we just have to go here. I think so. Maybe? Let's see. Wrong menu. Where's map? How does map... Is that map? Okay, there's map. I was pressing... I think I pressed the Genshin button for the map. Oh, it's just literally over here. It's literally over here, okay. See, it's hard to know sometimes. By the way, my controller still has drift. And I know it's like one of those things you like, it's like, you're not gonna... You guys probably won't notice too much. It's just kind of like a little bit frustrating because, like, I take care of my peripherals. And PlayStation, it doesn't happen with my Xbox controller. It doesn't happen with my Switch controller. It doesn't happen with any controller I use for PC. It's always the PS5 controller. And you only notice it during Genshin and Honkai because they have very free-flowing movements, I feel like. But yeah, if you notice some like movements where like my character's like doing this by himself or something, yeah, let me know. And any solutions, please tell me, please. Help. Black monsters are twisted in form, and their life is turned to ash within their souls. It's impossible to figure out the form when they were still alive. It's like trying to like ascertain what they were like before this.
These are the remains of a black tide monster. It does look different from the Titankin from up close.
I think so. I think the Titan King have like a way more like of a colorful feel to them. They're way more like filled out, I feel like.
What's that underneath it? A scroll.
Oh wow, scholar debates. A recorded debate between Veronist and news support scholars. Most of it is illegible, leaving only fragments of dialogue. Venerist scholar. Venerationist scholar. We all recall that the state that dared touch the sky, but what were they really? Just blind masses manipulated by the ambitious politician who dared challenge the Titan's authority. Venerationist scholar. A completely meaningless attempt, an absolute mistake. New sports scholar. You Venerationists have bowed to the Titans for so long, you've forgotten the scholar's true purpose. New support scholar. Making a mistake does not mean an act was meaningless. So they're debating, I think, the idea of... So far anyway, what I think they're debating is following the Titan and the idea of research, I guess, as well, and how like research that questions the Titan is kind of like shouldn't be allowed from the perception of the Venerationist scholars, because they're saying here like you dare challenge the Titan's authority, but then you have like the new sports scholar is saying something I actually kind of agree with, which is like just because something like ended up being a mistake doesn't mean that experimentations are always like pointless, but that depends on the experiment, of course. Even those new students of the Grove understand this from basic logic lessons. It would be something probably would teach them very early on. An entire city-state reduced to ashes proved the skyship's construction was a mistake. To me, that's precisely the meaning they achieved through sacrifice. Okay, now we're hearing that the experiment cost a lot of people's lives. And what they achieved was through sacrifice, which means that I'm guessing that they challenged the Sky Titan in some way. Is that what we're getting here? Dare touch the sky, and the Sky Titan said, how about I frickin' end you? It sounds like, maybe. Am I hearing this right? Such a statement. Are you converting to Venerationism? No, I'm simply explaining the matter from another perspective. Legible content answer. Is that what I'm getting from this?
As I expected, the Grove doesn't forbid discussions about the sky. It's a debate between two scholars about the sky ships.
Okay.
Galaya also made mention of the ships when she interrogated us. A memory I'd rather forget.
That's kind of crazy that this still affects Dan Heng. Well, not crazy. It makes sense. Like they at that time they thought they were gonna die. right? That's the main thing you have to remember here. Of course, it would still bring you
I'll
trauma.
hold on to this for now. With any luck, this journey won't leave us empty-handed.
So, oh, see the drift there? See the drift? See, the thing is, we're finding out about this as well. Is that we know that Aglaia doesn't want people debating the sky, right? Not because she is some tyrant dictator. Now, the council might call her that. But the reason she doesn't want people debating the sky and talking about the sky and discussing ways to get past the sky is because she knows that in her mind it is kind of dangerous to question the Titans, and especially the Sky Titan. Because let's be honest here as well. What happened to Stell? She died. Like, Stell got destroyed by the Sky Titan. At least from our perception, right? So, like, Aglaia doesn't want that. But it's clear here in the Grove, they're very much, like, have a focus on the idea of intellectualism and discovery. So debates about, like, the Sky Titan and all this stuff isn't forbidden in some way. I'm guessing that's what we're getting from this as well. That there were discussions about the idea of the Sky Titan and the sky that weren't forbidden. And it seems like way more of, like, I'm not saying that, I hope that this always sounds very pretentious, but I'm saying that this is like very much more focusing on the practical, intellectual stuff. Not because, is Hyzen in trouble? What the hell? Not because Aglaia is non-intellectual, but because she's trying to like make sure that people don't question that in any way, shape, or form. Are you okay, Hyzen? Like, what the hell's happening here? I mean, no doubt she could probably protect herself, though.
That's Hyacinth. Why is she surrounded by so many monsters? As much faith as I have in her, it's probably a good idea to help her out there.
I know, she has her hands on her hips here.
Really now? This is way more trouble than I could have asked
She looks like
for.
she's scolding them at this point.
Need a hand?
Very action hero of Don Hong here.
Or you could sit back and watch.
She's like, hey, check this out. What's she gonna do?
I can't tell if you're serious or not. But being hard to read isn't without its perks, I suppose.
He's like, I don't get sarcasm sometimes.
I'm kidding, Danny.
Danny!
Lend me a hand, pretty please. All right, now let's get him.
She's so sweet. She has, but again, like a little bit of sarcasm there, which is funny. Very funny. Man, Don Hong's so cool. I know skinny jeans aren't like popular anymore, but like when someone wears them well, they wear them well. You know what I mean? That's just the truth. It's been a while since I've used Don Hong at all, actually. It's been a long, long time.
Spend freely.
It's
More
been kind of
business,
nice. Not that I'm all for the idea of like not using Lotcha. We're gonna use Lotcha on other teams. I should have done the opposite way here.
Relax.
It's okay.
Good times. Never time to say bye.
But like, it's nice to have like a new strategy with like a shielder rather
What are you
than
waiting
a
for?
healer sometimes,
To
right?
betray
Like
my
adds a new layer
customers?
of this to the game.
I
And
charge
the thing is, I'm
extra.
not against the idea of how we used Lotcha so much. Like, by the way, he's been the backbone of our team since the beginning. But it's nice to have new
Place is
strategies, you know?
practically in ruins. What happened? There shouldn't be this many monsters
Yeah,
here.
they weren't this lively when we came here first with Stell, right?
The Black Tide is remarkably quick to detect the light of Amphoreus. So or rather, the blessings of the Sky Priest in me, might have unknowingly called them to me.
Oh, wait, so they were attracted to a blessing from Hyacinth, from the Sky Titan?
Anyway, never mind that for now. Here, you might want to have a look at this. I found it around here and thought it might be of interest.
Please.
to you.
So I guess they are attracted to the blessings of Titans? Lovely stuff. Here's the debate number 2. A debate record between two scholars, most are illegible, leaving only fragments of dialogue. Youth the Pro. Well then, enlighten me. What exactly do you mean by examining another perspective? Simple, you see. When we stand morally, the sky is above. When we stand on our heads, normally, sorry, not morally, it's below our feet. Okay. I don't want to know what kind of situation inspired you to make such exalted theories. I mean, isn't it... Technically what he said is factual. When we're on our heads, the sky is below us. By the way, I have a student who loves to write satirical comedies and once wrote about a fool who could not figure out a question no matter what. As I said, there's no reasoning with you, Venerationists. You're like Dromas's, huge and always gazing downward the earth, while I want a wasp that stings the Dromas. I want to be the wasp. So this person's like saying like, I think that you're too hard-headed. Yes, you're big. Yes, you're massive. Yes, you have this position where you are gigantic. But you never gaze up, right? You always gaze down because you're so tall. And I think the idea of like never gazing up is like, can have a bunch of different meanings. Like if you're talking about like not gazing up, you're talking about not like having dreams, not wanting to progress forward, not ever looking to the Sky Titan, not ever like trying to figure out a way to get out of this. To me, it has like a bunch of different meanings, right? And then the wasp that stings the Dromas would be like, you know, we're small, but like I want to make an impact. What if that state tyrant's defeat simply proves that among all paths to Aquila, the skyship was the wrong one? So let's help with the skyship again. It was the wrong one here, they say. Pause. Oh, it's Anaxagoras. Honestly, I should have tried to get as soon as he said I want to be the wasp to sing the Dromas. So he was against the Venerationists, which makes sense because it seems like the Venerationists like are while don't seem like they're followers exactly of the Titans. It does seem like they're very like it doesn't. I mean they're not like you know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like they're like as dedicated. They're still very much like into the intellectual stuff, but they're very much more into the idea of like the Titans. They're still into the Titans. Anaxagoras, you impious blasphemer! No, they are. Okay, I got that wrong. My bad. Mark my words, you will eventually answer for your sacrilege. This is the problem with debates like this. It's like Anaxagoras is, you know, to me, trying to make like a few points about like, hey, maybe we can progress forward with this, but this guy's like, hey, buddy. Like, you're a blasphemer. And this is, like, one of the best ways that, to me, to cut off a discussion, right? Again, as I said before, I'm not into debates, but I do think that, like, a lot of times... I've said this in Ace Attorney a lot, so I haven't said it here, but, like, sometimes I'll see a debate on Twitter, like, on a Twitter video being shared. And what happens is in those debates is that, like, it's usually, like, someone will try to, like, cut off the debate as soon as possible if they feel like they can't argue very well. So one of the best ways to do that is to just be like, well, I have faith. It's like, okay, but it's like, well, you're a blasphemer. That cuts off all discussion. Like, you know, and the pause here is a perfect example where it's like, you see Anaxagoras trying to like make a hypothesis here and an assertion. And on the other side of it, you have like a Venerationist trying to just be like, he pauses and goes, you are a doo-doo head who doesn't believe in God. And it's like, okay, that cuts off any future discussion. I doubt your students or a young teaching assistant girl have any idea what secret research you're truly conducting. So we're talking about secret research here. Legible continents here.
Anaxagoras. He's the scholar who fused himself with the coreflame of reason.
Yep, canonically smallest waist in the biz.
This is new. I didn't know Professor Anaxa was researching the sky.
Interesting.
He's never mentioned anything
That is
about
okay. That's
it.
interesting because, like, again, for me, like, I don't know like what he's researching fully. So the idea that he's researching something about the sky to me, like, I don't know. I just didn't know this. I wonder if it is like again this idea of like how do we? If he seems like someone who would like defy the Titans for, you know, a lollipop and a pat on the back. You know, he doesn't take much convincing in my opinion.
Finance said Anaxa might be opposed to the flame chase journey.
Might is an understatement. Anaxa has never been one to venerate the gods.
Right.
Nor has he ever found it within himself to put any faith in the prophecy. People have come to think of him as a heretic. Even in a place as liberal.
That's what I was trying to say about the Venerationists. It's like it seems still very like freeing and open, but there's still people who are dedicated to the Titans, right? Even if it is more freeing and open. It's like to me it reminds me of like it's like from the Venerationist perspective, it's like you're allowed to say this, but I'm still allowed to insult you and call you a blasphemer, right? It's like you're not going to get punished for what you're saying here, but I'm going to still insult you. And by the way, when someone is called a heretic, it just makes me like them a bit more.
Yet, it is also this very blasphemer that Circe's favors.
Exactly.
Fate sure works in mysterious ways.
I think sometimes like it is a situation where sometimes like people are drawn to the one who isn't as dedicated to like their like whether it be even if it's like a boss. Like you'll oftentimes see like in a workplace people be like, man, Tony didn't even want to be assistant manager. Why did he get assistant manager? And it's like, well, just because like you worship the ground that your supermarket walks on and you like smile and say, oh, like, you know, I love supermarket, you know, that doesn't mean that you're right for the job. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, Cersei's has found a very nice home with Anaxagoras, and she seems to be enjoying her time as well, and also enjoying the discussions, and I think she finds something very interesting in him as well.
I picked up a scroll on my way here too. It looks like it may be related to the one you're holding.
Oh, let me have a look.
Hyacinth is so cheerful. She could literally light up my whole day. Hyacinth combines both records together. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more explanation on everything.
By the looks of them, these scrolls are records of two conversations that took place in the same setting, one after the other.
There's still much I don't know about the Grove. Do you mind if I ask you a few
I would actually
questions?
love that.
Sure, go ahead.
Again, this is why Hyacinth's so amazing, right? We have like so many, we have like a crisis happening. There's like demon black tide soldiers everywhere, and Hyacinth's just like, yeah, go ahead, buddy. Love it. Who are the Venerationists? So, again, my assumption with these guys is that they are followers of Titans, but they're not accepting, but they kind of like put up with the idea of new support's assertions.
The Grove of Epiphany is home to 7 schools of thought. While all 7 schools are founded on the ideologies of Thalesis, the first scholar, each is unique in its own way. Among them, the Venerationists revere and worship the Titans the most.
They are worship, which again you can see from their dialogue 100%. At first I thought like it was like maybe like because it's the Grove that they are like weren't as dedicated, but then like, you know, veneration, you know, is there as well. But yeah, okay, that's fine.
As the sage of the Venerationists, Euthyphro has always been at loggerheads with Anaxa.
Love that term.
If we were to place the 7 sages on the scales of Talanton, Anaxa and Euthyphro would be placed on opposite sides.
Love that though.
Balance.
Love that dynamic.
A very illustrative explanation.
Don
Thank
Hong
you.
appreciates it. So we learned that the venerations are like, as we kind of seen from the dialogue there, which again, one of those things is like, you know, I'm going to get some assertions wrong sometimes, and I'm going to speculate. And things will change over time. It's never going to stop me from speculating, because like that's the whole point of like stories, you know. What's the point of like just like me staying shut, like putting my mouth shut until like everything's revealed? Just wouldn't be any fun. What is a mistake? Was a mistake to build the skyships?
Nearly everyone in Amphoreus has heard the story of the skyships by now. Aquila's stature is loftier than the heavens, and their divine retribution is merciless.
The way she said that is so sweet. Divine retribution. Like, okay. Again, she's like a bundle of light.
That's why it's no use building giant skyfaring ships. Oh, but I do wonder if a supercharged mini Treaty cannon could slip past their watch.
See what I mean? She's even in these discussions, she's so sweet as well.
That was a joke,
Oh, Don Hong.
right?
He doesn't get Heisen's jokes, right? He just doesn't. And what is an access field to study?
Newsporists primarily study the application of alchemy in soul
Right.
repair. Everyone considers Anaxa a blasphemer, but that has never stopped him from sharing his ideas.
I'm glad.
No matter how taboo. If you must say that he's hiding something, then it's likely what lies beneath his eye
And we know what the
patch.
story of the eye patch was as well, like him trying to bring his sister back, but eventually only getting to see her one last time, and him thinking that it was a really good trade-off, right? The thing is, though, about the thing, I want to make clear, I'm not into taboo experiments. I want to make that clear, so I hope it doesn't sound like I'm just being like, yeah, new supports, you're awesome. Like end of, you know what I mean? And I'm also not trying to say that followers of the Titans are wrong, by the way, because we know many people in this game who are followers of the Titans who are very rightfully following the Titans. You know what I mean? The Titans' power is incredible. So I want to make it clear I'm not like just picking like, oh, like this is that, this is this. But I do think that there is a happy medium they could find here between calling Anaxa just like this blasphemer and shutting him down versus, you know, just letting him like, you know, doing like making progress, guys. Let him make progress. Because I think the thing is when Anaxa says like, yes, I don't agree with the idea of bringing people back to life in many cases. Now, you might say, well, Calvin, aren't you trying to bring Stella back to life? Stop bringing facts and logic into these discussions. Thank you. I don't think what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't agree with, like, a lot of the taboo stuff that happens in alchemy. Even when I watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, there's so much stuff in it that, like, of course you're like, Jesus Christ, this is insane, why would you do this? But I also have a trust for Anaxagoras, where I think a lot of his experiments and his viewpoints and his study of alchemy isn't from the perspective of an evil scientist. It's from the perspective of someone who, like, actually wants to make progress and actually wants to help people. The stories of alchemy, as I said last time, we've heard for years throughout stories, has always been like the scientist who sacrifices 20 bodies to make the soul of one. He has made so much progress through his sacrifice of many human souls. When in this case, it's like, an Anaxagoras is like, what if I just, like, hurt myself? What if I constantly do stuff to my own body to make progress? And while I don't agree with, like, the taboo stuff all the time, it's one of those things where, like, at the same time, it's like, you gotta appreciate someone who does want to make progress, who clearly cares about the world, who has, like, emotional intelligence that is pretty freaking vast, and at the same time, like, is experimenting on himself.
Anaxa often says that every failure brings us one step closer to the
The way she made her voice, like, a little bit deeper.
Perhaps, to him, the crash of the sky ship carries a different interpretation.
Okay.
The firmament is not impenetrable.
Love that.
On the contrary, it was precisely because the sky ship represented the first step toward breaking free from the shackles of the earth that it provoked the wrath of the Sky Titan and brought divine punishment upon itself.
So again, he's saying that failures can lead to better understandings. And I want to make clear as well, I understand that in this situation, there was death of, if I'm reading this right, there was people who did suffer under this, 110%. But I don't think the main purpose of Anaxagoras' studies ever is the intention that, like, people have to suffer for his experiments. What he's doing here, I think, is kind of like the skyship crashed. Instead of, like, looking at it as, like, this, like, a completely horrific thing, let's look at what it taught us, right? And I think that's, like, an important thing about his personality, is that while, I don't want to ever hype, I'm not trying to hype him up to the point that I'm always like, you know, he's perfect, he's amazing, just because he has a cute nose and, like, a beautiful face. I'm not ever, you know, guys know I'll never do that. But the thing is, like, what I'm trying to say is that I think of his character as, like, let's say, like, something horrible did happen. He would feel so bad if he saw the stuff at the Grove, right? But I still think that after that, he's the type of personality to be like, okay, that happened. What did we learn? You know, what did we learn from this?
It's a shame that the majority of the Grove's research on Aquila was headed by the Venerationists, with sacrificial rituals making up a predominant part of their findings. Discourse about more esoteric subject matters in relation to Aquila dwindled even further after the skyship incident. So much so that even the scroll is completely new to me.
So they're kind of, like, heading up those things all the time, which probably isn't very good if you want to make progress on, like, letting people out of here.
Don't worry about it. We'll just collect everything we can find on the Titans for now. There's something else that's caught my attention, though. This says that Anaxa is conducting secret experiments of some sort.
Knowing my look, everything I just said about Anaxagoras is just going to become untrue. They're going to be like, yeah, he was experimenting on, like, a bunch of people. He was cutting them open.
That's what I'd like to know. What are these experiments he's involved in? Even I, the assistant lecturer, know next to nothing about
That makes
them.
it even more curious, right?
I have a bad
Look at this
feeling
drift.
about this. Could there be more to what happened at the Grove?
Possibly. And if you have a bad feeling about this, that means there definitely is a bad feeling, because making Hyacinth have a bad feeling about something is very rare. But yeah, like, I love Anaxagoras as a character, not because I believe he's just, like, a perfect being. You know what I mean? I don't know him fully yet. We're going to learn more about him as time goes on. But I like him because he is so fun to, like, decipher. He's like a puzzle. He's like a puzzle, and it's so fun in itself. Like, it's like, oh my god, look at the beating hair here now. He's a puzzle game on, like, himself, you know?
This is the Library of Philia.
The
a
beat.
place where the Grove stores its collection of tomes.
The beat is so impactful. It's so heavy.
Other than books written by the 7 schools, you can also find philosophical texts, ballads, and religious writings from the Outlands here. Cities that desire to learn from the Grove were apparently expected to contribute knowledge of equal value to what they saw.
Okay. So if you want to learn from the Grove, you also have to contribute to the Grove, right? Which I think is fair, right? If you want to use our knowledge, and you have to help us too.
We've had more than our fair share of hilarious episodes over the years. For instance, it's said that the Erythrocheramists once borrowed a manuscript from a certain author, but ended up returning a copy instead of the original. What's more, the original manuscript was supposedly then hidden here.
Is this supposed to be like, oh, look at the red spirits, by the way. Is this supposed to be like a scholar joke?
That doesn't seem like a nice thing to do.
Nice? No need to hold yourself back, Danny. You can just tell it like it is.
Oh my
Their
god.
behavior was no different from Bandit.
Here's the thing. I don't ever want to not take her seriously, but like, and I hope it doesn't seem like that. I just think she's adorable. I just think the hands on the hips and calling him Danny is adorable to me. So it wasn't even a joke. She's like, yeah, this thing happened and was pretty mean.
Well, if you don't mind, did the Grove ever rob Castrum criminals?
Great terminology, right?
Whew, you've got me there. Some said you couldn't even find a dictionary in Castrum criminals.
Jesus.
So I guess they were spared.
That's probably an over-exaggeration, but still, you know?
There are too many books in the library of Philia. Flipping through them all will take too long. Why don't we use the biblioslate to search for the texts we need? We can bring them back to Occama for reading after that.
Sure.
Agreed. This place isn't safe. We should leave as soon as we're done. There's still several more scrolls strewn all over the place. I'll gather them while you pull up those texts. This way, nothing will be overlooked.
Lovely. I do love the, again, as I said, the personalities of Don Hong and Hyacinth here are really great. Don Hong is nervous as heck. I want to make it clear when I'm talking about Don Hong, I never thought he was just a robotic character, and I hope it never comes across when I say that I feel like Amphoreus has opened up a whole new idea for him, because we've seen him, like, you know, be scared before. We've seen him be nervous before. But the difference is, I feel like on Amphoreus, to this character we've always known as caring, this character we've always known as lovely, this character we've always known as someone who cares about us and cares about the world and cares about everybody. The reason I feel like we're seeing him like have his voice be a lot shakier, expressing his nerves a lot more openly. We have him like kind of being a bit more like shaky in his tone sometimes, is because there's a big difference between Belobog's journey. There's a big difference between Belobog's journey. There's a big difference between his journey back to Xianzhou. There's a big difference between him going to Penacony, right? All this stuff. There's a big difference in all this stuff. And the reason I say it's a big difference is because Belobog, it was an assigned job where him and March were bringing Stell into the group. He had someone there to kind of back him up in terms of like his leadership, right? You could say when he went to the Xianzhou, it was still something that made him very nervous, but he had Himiko to support him and make him feel like this was the right thing to do. And then he went and met up with all of his friends, and they supported him there as well. Then we had as well in Penacony, he went there with Boothill, right? He went with Boothill, and I feel like in that moment he was a lot more calm because again, Welt and Himiko were in Penacony, right? It's one of those situations. But now, like, I don't mean to insult Stell whatsoever. I hope it doesn't sound like this. But we all know that Don Hong took the lead in this Amphoreus. He took the lead. He's speaking more. He's talking more. He's all doing all this stuff more. So, like, it's really interesting to me to see, like, you know, he is a lot more nervous, a lot more shaky, and I think it is legitimately just because he had to, like, step up a lot more. And now he knows that it's one of those situations, and we all know what this is like when we finally, you know, do something where, like, March isn't here. Stell is in big trouble right now. It's like, he probably feels a lot more weight to every one of his steps. Whereas before, he could be like, well, Himiko and Welt are here, so I trust that they will help out the situation. Stell and March are there with Welt. Stell and March are there with, and I know Himiko can intervene at any time. They're kind of cut off from the world in this sense. So like showing that like he definitely, I think, puts so much weight into every one of his movements now. Not that he never wasn't not calculated, but like very like, he had a very great perspective and he was always thinking about stuff very analytically and stuff in that way too. I think like now in Amphoreus we're seeing a side of Don Hong where like he definitely is maybe overthinking, but he's always thinking about every next step because he is taking the lead technically on this expedition, and not only that, He's in an unknown place where he can't just go, hey, Welt and Himiko, can I have some emotional support? Hey, March, maybe we should do this. Hey, Welt, can we help with this? He is, you know, the most experienced trailblazer on Amphoreus, factually so, right? And then, like, I feel like what's great about the expectations with Hyacinth, I love the Hyacinth is, like, really calm, you know, right now, and I think it's really, really interesting. But yeah, I think the way they've done Don Hung's character on Amphoreus has been so great. I've really loved it. I really loved what they've done here. This is where we first met Circe's, right? Oh, look at all this stuff here. Let's go in order. So, like, yeah. So here's the first one. These are complaint letters to the scholars about Anaxagoras blasphemer. There's a thick stack of letters. Based on the dust accumulated, the perfectly intact seals, the complainee did not even bother opening them. Just chucked them aside in the corner. I'm going to put them in my filing cabinet and put them in the bin.
This is about Anaxa. I should read this. Hyacinth, you should come have a look too.
He's just too goddamn pretty.
Ugh, it's so dusty in here. Whoa. Are these all complaints about him?
Constant complaints is actually hilarious, though.
I can already see what they must have written. Anaxa has no respect for the gods.
I love that she does the
His very
voices.
existence undermines order in our society. They're probably all things like that.
I love the way she does the voices sometimes.
Does Anaxa hold that much influence?
Why else would they call him the great performer? When Anaxa established his school of thought, the first thing he apparently did was read his own work to everyone.
Hell yeah! I don't know why that's so funny. Like, I love him.
Are the Titans truly an accurate reflection of what humans think gods should be? Worlds created by gods are indubitably perfect, but what of Amphoreus? Only foolishness and insensitivity everywhere you turn.
So, are the Titans truly an accurate reflection? I love again, she's doing the voice. So he's saying that, like, if the gods create everything perfectly, why is there foolishness and insensitivity everywhere in Amphoreus?
An uncanny impersonation. What happened after?
They marched him straight to the seat of judgment before he could finish.
Man, I love Anaxagoras more and more every day.
Though what he took on in the end was more of a debate than an actual trial. He had to address every one of the scholars' allegations, or face expulsion from the grove.
This is the type of stuff, because again, I want to make clear, by throughout history, a lot of scientists still were very religious. This is true. Like, scientists were religious. Back in, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they still followed the idea of religion. What's so crazy about this, like, this type of thing, like, as soon as you question the Titans and stuff like this as well, like, you get marched to, like, trial, this is, like, counterintuitive to any progress with anything. You're shooting yourself in the foot here, you know? Even if you don't agree with it. Like, and I want to be clear, some stuff that people say is crazy and should not be acknowledged. But in this case, it's like, hey, maybe we should listen to this guy who has some interesting thoughts.
The first allegation was... Do you agree that since the Titans
voice.
created the heavens and earth, so the mountains, rivers, and seas must likewise be their creations?
So they make it... This is an interesting question. I want to hear the answer.
Am I supposed to put myself in Anaxa's shoes and answer that?
That'd be very interesting. Yes.
As told in the myths, the seas, the skies, and the earth are all, beyond the shadow of a doubt, creations of the Titans.
Oh, God, I'm sorry, guys. So I think he would have said no, but I thought they said, like, should I answer as him? Yes or no?
Anaxa would have probably been spared a lot of trouble if he had answered this way.
Yeah.
Instead, he quoted past instances of the flame chase journey and posited that humans had the potential to take over the divinity
Look at this.
of Titans.
Look at this. Again, this is very, like, Anaxagoras, right? Because I feel like he's saying here that, like, I think he puts a lot of weight in the idea of, like, humanity over the Titans, and even, like, you know, even when it's related to the Titans, you know?
Needless to say, his critics didn't take kindly to his answer, so they followed up with a second allegation.
It's so because again, I think he's like, I don't know, I think I love him even more, not because I'm like, everything he says is true facts no matter what, everything is so true, everything's so true, but like when you have a character who's questioning stuff and they get put into a trial, it's like, yeah, I'm following them to the ends of the earth now.
You You claim to be studying souls, yet you are, in fact, defiling them and committing acts condemned by the gods. Do you admit it?
That's barely like an accusation. Where's your evidence? It's barely an accusation.
That's a serious allegation. Did he really do that?
Anaxa always wears an eye patch, never removing it, even when alone. Some say he used one of his eyes as an alchemical ingredient.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I'm against doing these type of experiments generally, right? But it's still the fact that he used his own body and not someone else's, I will always admire.
Every being in the world owes their safekeeping to Philia, and this is even more so for the Chrysos heirs who have divine blood coursing through them. If he has really done something of that nature,
Interesting.
it would indeed be sacrilegious.
So it's they believe it's sacrilegious not because like a human body is sacred, but because Philia is keeping you safe. Philia is protecting you, and the Chrysos heirs have you're the divine blood of Chrysos heirs flowing through you. So it's also saying like it is very religious, right? It is like, it reminds me of Christianity and Catholicism in a lot of ways, where it's like God gave you this body and you defiled it. You know, it's like it seems like it's less about caring about human beings as individuals and more about talking about them as if like you are great because you're related to the gods. God made you in his image, so that means that's why you have to protect your body. Where in reality, like, I would always say that, like, don't sacrifice your eye for alchemy because you are yourself as an individual are a beautiful person, and I wouldn't want you to hurt yourself, you know? But it seems like, yeah, your whole, to these people, the Venerationists, it's like your whole body is important because it has divine blood, and because if you're a human, you are being kept safe by Philia. It's almost like I think it's like they're saying, like, you're spitting in the face of Philia. Like, why is he protecting you if you damage your own body in that sense? When in reality, like, you know, I don't think Anaxagoras gives a damn about that stuff in that way. He cares about people as individuals, I feel like.
Thankfully, they had no way to prove it, so it amounted to nothing more than an allegation.
I was just thinking that, 100%.
One by one, Anaxa engaged in wars of words against those who would challenge him. Toward the end, a scholar asked him, "Anaxagoras, have you any respect for the gods?"
I love the way she does like a voice. She's also doing a voice that's like not too loud. It's so funny. This question to me is again very manipulative, and I hate it. The question they asked him, because throughout this whole conversation, what this sounds like? It sounds like he was doing a 20v1 and beating the hell out of them. It sounds like this was supposed to be a trial, and it turned into like a 20v1 debate, and Anaxagoras was murdering them at every turn, and they didn't have anything on him. So it's like this very. It goes to a very emotional place, which again, I don't think there's anything wrong with being emotional in like a debate, because like when we're talking about serious topics, being emotional makes sense. But in this sense, it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't have anything on him, so instead I'll just be like, have you any respect at all, you know? As a way of like a last gotcha moment. But it sounded here like it was a 20v1, like, you know, what are those really dumb Jubilee videos? It's like 20 Venerationists versus one based new Sporcist.
It was only after a brief silence that he answered, "I have never denied that Titans are meant to be noble."
I love his wording here. I love this, man. I love hearing all this stuff.
What he didn't say, that the Titans are not noble, rings louder in this case.
Yes, it's so true. It's what he doesn't say is what's important, and I love that.
Yes, I'm not sure how that controversy was eventually resolved. But what's for certain, at least, is that Anaxa was allowed to stay in the grove.
Hell yeah.
Where he continued his research, despite being regarded as a heretic.
I love that it literally brought him on trial and it turned into a 20v1 debate. I love it. And he won.
By the way, this stack of complaint letters has reminded me of a place in the grove. We may find clues there that aren't on the teleslate. I'm talking about Anaxa's alchemy lab, hidden between the cornerstones.
Hell yeah.
Given the Grove's meticulous approach to archiving, could there really be such an oversight right under their noses?
It's a well-kept secret. Among the 7 sages, excluding the nominal chief sage, each has a private sanctuary where they can conduct
wow.
research undisturbed in their free time.
So they would have been able to like hide that stuff from sight.
Even the administrators of the Library of Philia are restricted from accessing those places and documenting the sage's research.
But
With the grove in this state, I'm sure Anaxa won't be mad even if we sneak into the lab for a short while. Right?
how could you be angry at these two? I couldn't even find, like, I legitimately, they could, like, jump me, you know, after a full day of work where I couldn't fight back. And I'd be like, I must have done something wrong, you know? If these two jump me.
trees.
Look at the drift, it's so
Look at
funny.
these.
We can investigate the other documents, right? For sure. Yeah, guys, and here's the thing with the drift, I want to make it clear here. I can buy another controller, right? But I'm trying to, like, use it until its last legs are completely done. Because controllers, PS5 controllers are expensive. They're like, I know like it's not that expensive, I can afford it, but it's like the principle of it. It's like €70 for a PS5 controller. And it's like Resident Evil Requiem's coming out this month and I'd like to play that. And it's like, I don't want to spend then €140 on PlayStation stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like the principle of it. It's so the principle of it. A record of many research topics a Capris scholar had applied for and the replies from their schools at stage about the topics. A discovery that many mythical beasts renowned for their longevity actually reside in areas with poorly managed birth and death records for such creatures. Permission to research replies lacks research significance not approved. So the research was that mythical beasts that are live for a long time actually live in places where there isn't many death records. So is that saying that like it's maybe not be that they have longevity, it's that they're not documented well enough? An observation of real plants within the grove imitating the growth patterns with nearby white dryads. Permission to research. Falls under the domain of law. Just a school, not approved. So a lot of unapproved stuff here. Investigate the feasibility of flying burrs into rocket tubes to guide the direction of the rocket's flight. Too fanciful, not approved. The subsequent talk has grew increasingly eclectic, yet the outcome of the replies remains unchanged. Impressive
tenacity. Hopefully it helped him survive the black tide.
See, that's the thing. It's like you can tell that like a lot of people here were like throwing stuff at the wall in a way that like, you know, they were trying to find out like the best possible avenues for research here, for sure. A book covered in annotations from many scholars is titled "The Art of Sophistry: 40 Ways to Improve Your Debating Skills." Become a debate lord. You skim through it, and the highlighted methods include virtual causation, false premises, contradiction, conversation, conflating preservation of reality, misinterpreted punctuation, misattribution, and generalizing specificity, among others. Generalizing specificity, misattribution, yeah. It sounds like, again, very manipulative, right? Amidst our scholars' exclamations, a true eye-opener of the art of language knows no bounds. If I can't master sophistry, I can't learn to defend myself against them as an honest man, and so on.
The last resort is, when all else fails, employ brute force.
Thank you.
Well, this isn't going to be of any help, that's for sure.
So, one of the things that, like, I talked about with debates in this episode, or not in this, sorry, I think it was in, I talked about a lot in, I talked about debates already, but I talked about the idea of debates within Ace Attorney, that playthrough we're doing as well. And one of the things about the Ace Attorney debates, or the topic that I was talking about, is like one of the debate tactics that I absolutely despise, because it's bullcrap. It's absolute bullcrap, is boiling everything down to like yes or no questions defeats the object of like actually discussion. And it's a really good way that like people are able to like make themselves seem a lot smarter. So what they will do is this. It's like, I'm going to pick a topic here that's like that's related to Honkai Star Rail, but that's not that crazy, right? So do you believe that is Anaxagoras legitimately, literally blasphemous, right? Technically, according to the Titan stuff and the religion of the Titans and the worship of the Titans, the answer is yes to the yes or no question. But there's way more nuance to the situation of what we want to talk about, right? So we have to go, yes, but, and they go, no, yes or no question. It's like, yeah, but there's more nuance to this. You know what I mean? It's like, yes or no. And then what happens is, I'm just going to say it, it's going to sound harsh. People who like don't do any more research will legitimately be like, that guy there is so smart. He couldn't even, like, that guy's such an idiot. He couldn't even answer a yes or no question, when in reality, like, topics as serious as that, and topics as serious as the stuff we usually debate in life, They're not yes or no questions. There's so much nuance to like so many different things. There are answers to yes or no questions, like should children have the right to shelter and food? There's no nuance there. Yes, there's of course that's nuance, but there's certain topics where it's like yes or no. It's like no. You have to let them like be more nuanced. It's like, and again, it's a way to tunnel them into your own debate and to tunnel them into your own answer, right? 100%. It's very shady tactics here. Okay, so I guess we're heading up here. Man, I'm yapping even more than usual now this episode because I feel like this is the type of stuff that like it's just so freaking interesting hearing like the Anaxas. Wait, because they moved away for a second, they stopped? This type of stuff that interests me so much, like when it comes to like Anaxa and his time in the Grove. He's become like one of the most interesting characters almost instantly, you know? I think he's probably gonna go down as I think he does have like the potential to be my favorite character. I would say so. Like like I'm not saying he is right now because I think Midamos is still my favorite character, but like you never know like what could happen by the end of Amphoreus. I think he has more than the potential to be that, honestly. Take that. It's nice playing as Don Heng as well, though, right? It's very nice. I remember this location. This was the library where the old dude stayed to die, right?
Where is everything? Materials for alchemical experiments, matrix diagrams, and even the seal to the lab.
Interesting.
They're all gone. Did the black tide destroy it all?
No wonder we didn't see any defense mechanisms along the way.
Because we remember there was like a library here. This was the section where Anaxagoras was trying to convince that scholar to leave, right?
Have you ever been here before?
No, not even close. Not only are alchemy experiments high-risk activities, but Professor Anaxa also has a penchant for using bizarre materials.
Oh.
Students often saw him walk in looking right as rain, but come out covered in soap with his hair singed. Naturally, no one dared to come near this place.
I know that's showing him like that like things are like I don't know. Like he was doing some crazy stuff, but why am I just thinking that's adorable? You know, him coming out with soot in his hair.
That bookshelf over there seems to be the only thing still intact.
We should check it out, right? For sure. Their materials requested by Anaxagoras, documented from various fields, have compiled in one place, including the Titan's creation, the universality of the soul, alchemy doctrine, and so on. Most of the materials look to be within research domain of the New Sports School of Thought. However, a document titled "A Study of the Chrysos Era's Background" is mixed within. Oh, here we go. Hastily written journal. These appear to be quick notes examining the background of the Chrysos Era. So is this something written by Anaxagoras, maybe? The Holy Maiden of Yananopolis, Tribi, Trian, and Trinan, descendants of the Holy Maiden from the Temple of Three Fates. Goldbleeder, Aglaya of Okema, from the Menestia priestly family. The Prince of Castron Kremnos, Hyacinth of the Twilight Courtyard, what a beautiful name. All of their ancestry have varying degrees of connection to divine titans or divine authorities. Okay. Does the golden blood come from the heritage of priests, families, or royal bloodlines? So because like these people all have this kind of like connection to like some sort of like bloodline that seems rather divine, right? Anaxagoras, I myself show no such connection. Capali, the creator, what criteria did they use to create the gold blood, to shape the Chrysos Eras? These are questions that are good to ask though, right? Yet Casterus, the servant of death from Ibadonia, her lineage is neither titan, priest, nor demigod, but she has walked the earth for at least a millennium with the power to... Whoa, for real? That long? Where did this power come from? Because remember we were talking about, was it Pelixia last episode? I was saying that like maybe she was a descendant of Pelixia because she had the same ears and she was also related to the idea of the Death Titan. Do you think it's possible if Casterus has been walking the earth for like a millennium, that it's not even descended? It could be like very immediate relative of Pelixia. And he's asking the question here about like as well how like where did that power come from? You know what I mean? I love that he's asking these questions though. Another text speaks on the dragon legend of Styxia, the alchemical extraction of the soul ripped from the dragon's corpse. We're talking about Styxia now. It's definitely going to come back up, right? 100%. We talked about we knew it was going to come back maybe it's like spiritually, but I think it's actually going to come back up maybe like way more heavily than we think so, because they've talked about it 3 times now on the main quest path. The idea of Styxia, right? And the dragon. Dragons appear to be Titan's creations. Perhaps there's a way to reverse the process, using alchemy to refuse human souls with the Titan creations, increasing the purity and divinity of the golden blood towards absolute. So wait, so he's saying that like they talk about how the idea of the soul was ripped from the dragon corpse. And remember with the princess, she became this dragon that like destroyed the whole place as well. So he's saying perhaps there's a way to do that in reverse. Wait, so to reverse the dragon's creation of the Titans? Using alchemy to refuse human souls with Titan creations. Using alchemy, sorry. So, the fusing of souls with Titan creations. Increasing the purity and divinity of the golden blood towards the absolute. Is this what he was trying to find out last time when we saw that there's a possibility that... Not a possibility, it seems very true now, like from what the cutscene we saw last time. But the idea that like people can become the Titans in a way? But in here it says Titan creations, so the idea of fusing your soul with a Titan, with a dragon, for example, I guess. The theory must be tested, experiments to be arranged. So he's talking about taking a soul and fusing it with a human or a Titan creation of some kind. And I think that's why he kind of like, because remember he was like trying to like find out the answer to the Circe's thing. But then he instantly kind of changed his tune when he kind of realized maybe I can find the answers to this question, it seems, which is the idea of the soul merging with like either a Titan creation or maybe the Titans as well.
What's going on? Anaxa is conducting research on our friends in Alchema and me?
Yeah. And again, I'm not against that idea of like finding out why they chose these people for the Chrysos Heirs. I think it's like a really like forward-thinking way of thinking, you know? It's like trying to figure out why. Why would you do this?
This journal contains several intriguing points.
Creation of the Titans.
From the Abyss of Fate to Castrum Krumnos, I've seen many a Titan creation during my time in Amphoreus. Life forms created by Circes can also be found in the grove.
Right, so these are like the dragon would be, in the Styxia story, would be considered a Titan creation, right?
But fusing them with human souls through alchemical means? I can't even begin to imagine.
That was the story of how they saved, or they thought they were going to save the princess, right? And I wonder if it is a thing where, like, in that case, it's like, it's barbaric to me. But in the same way, in another way, people could say, well, she was going to die anyway, which she was. She was lifeless at the time. So I wonder, how that works. The Chrysos Heirs.
Anaxa seems to hold special interest in the divinity coursing through the Chrysos Heirs' veins, and has even conducted a thorough investigation into the hero's backgrounds.
It wouldn't have been so strange if he had focused only on Cassie, given her own curiosity about her origins. Plus, considering that the new sporists have crafted omnipotent medicines capable of curing diseases, it also makes sense that he would conduct research on immortal Chrysos heirs.
So he said it wouldn't have been strange if he was doing it only on Castris, because again, she's probably the most interesting. Not that they're not interesting, but like, you know, a millennium-old person, given the power of death, and her own curiosity, she's saying as well. So, because of his research into curing diseases, it makes sense that we'd also look into the idea of the Chrysos heir as being immortal, because if he can maybe harness that idea, maybe he could help cure more diseases and keep people alive for longer, maybe?
Now, it seems Anaxa's objective was never to create medicine, but to identify the origin of the golden blood and figure out its inner workings.
Right. Again, I'm not against the idea of trying to find out why they would fuse these people. I think it's perfectly a normal curiosity to have, you know? It's just when you get into the idea of the taboo stuff, as I said, I don't agree with it fully at all. You guys know I've said this a million times about like all that stuff.
Through alchemy, Anaxa aims to refine the golden blood and the Chrysos heirs to a degree of purity equal to divinity.
Okay.
This must be what he means by close to true purity. But treating both Titan creations and the human body as materials to be used in alchemy experiments? That's rather extreme.
It is 100% is extreme, and that's the thing where we're talking about like the taboo stuff, right? As I said before, like I perfectly am willing to like accept a time, you know, where he's actually doing something way worse than I thought he was, 100%. But obviously we don't know the full story of everything that he's doing here. We haven't actually seen him conduct experiments on, like, I don't think he's like taking living people, at least I hope not, taking living people and being like, time for your experiments now. But I wonder if he was doing that on himself, because they said that he was like, you know, able to, again, I don't know the full story, so I can't say. But yeah, it is an extreme process. It is very extreme.
Danny, look at this.
Oh no.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Oh no. Oh no. Again, as I said, we're going to take everything as it comes. These documents appear incomplete, judging from what's left behind. The important alchemical formulae have been taken away. Only the author's reasoning remains. The previous approach has flaws. Fusing human souls with Titan creations does not purify golden blood. Even pure Titan creations are contaminants to the Chrysosaur's golden blood. Soul fusion between humans and creations merely repairs impurities of the soul and maintains a connection to dying souls. So, what he found is that it repairs impurities, but it doesn't purify the golden blood. Is he trying to like make it so that like... Wait, let me try and read this over again. Sorry about this, guys. Actually, I'm not sorry. The previous project follows. Using human souls with Titan's creations does not purify golden blood. Even pure Titan creations are contaminants to the Chrysosaur's golden blood. So a pure Titan creation becomes a contaminant to the golden ichor already. And if you fuse the soul with... So it doesn't recreate a human soul, it just keeps a connection ongoing, which again would make sense with the Styxia stuff too, right? While creation myths tell us the Chrysosaurs and other creations were all made by Titans, their nature differs fundamentally. Okay? The Titans' creation are no intermediate products of an alchemical process, and the Chrysosaurs are closer to the Titans than the creations. In other words, I should not have considered the Titan creations equal to the Chrysosaurs. I should focus on is one pointed towards Titan themselves. So he thought of the Titan of Chrysosaurs as closer to Titan creations, when in reality he feels like they're actually closer to Titans. And this again could point towards the idea of like how Pelixia was going to become the Titan of Death, right? As we talked about last time. Such rare chances to study Titan demands a meticulous selection of research subjects. Living Titans prove impossible to restrain, of course, and dead Titans offer no insight into what we're pursuing, but dying Titans, they are perfect research subjects. Did he do research on a dying Titan? Only by understanding the fundamentals of creation can we ensure the perfection at the moment of everything's birth. Through my own hands, I will melt a Titan and reach the true essence of a soul. He wanted to melt a Titan?
My biggest fear. It's come true. After going through his notes, I think I can piece it all together.
Please,
now.
piece it together.
Anaxa was carrying out experiments on
Jesus.
soul transmutation.
Again, those taboo things, as we said, it's not good.
Do you mean he's trying to reconstruct human souls alchemically?
And we knew this from the stuff of what he was trying to do with his sister, right? That's human soul alchemy. That is taboo. Like, and that's why even his professor at the time was trying to make him hide it. We knew he was doing this, right? We knew he was trying to do this.
Yes, this is what he was secretly conducting research on. Something he had to keep hidden from others. Compared to his public speeches, this is the real blasphemy.
And it's terrifying, right? It's a terrifying thing. As I said, like, I trust Anaxagoras, right? I trust Anaxagoras, so I want to hear everything from his mouth, of course. But there's no doubt in my mind that even now I'm kind of like, oh, like, this is terrifying. Of course it would be.
I just thought
it's scary, right? It's scary.
What's wrong?
Do you remember when the black tide was approaching? The Grove had planned to send Circe's coreflame to a safe place. But an accident happened along the way, and Anaxa lost his life in the process.
Do you think this was due to one of his
But
experiments?
Circe took over his body and resurrected him, which led us to the situation we're in now.
Speak plainly. Me, the third person in the room, please.
That's right. But what if Professor Anaxa's fusion with the coreflame of reason wasn't an accident?
Like he intended for this to happen. Do you think he's going to use Circe's in an experiment then?
What do you mean?
Put yourself in his shoes. Knowing that the black tide was closing in and your time was running out, what would you have done?
This is so interesting.
I'd put my theories to the test, no matter the cost.
So he legitimately sacrificed his own life to put his theories. Is that what we're saying here? That like he intentionally like made himself die to merge himself with Circe's? Is that what we're saying? Like it wasn't just this accidental thing. He probably thought that Circe's would merge with him. So he was like, okay, the black tide's approaching. I'm going to do this right now. Which again, I hope it never sounds like I'm praising him to like the high heavens with rose tinted glasses on. This stuff is taboo. All this stuff is insane. Like it is. Like let's be honest here, right? But it's one of those things again where it's like, did he use his own body once again as like this experimental thing to see if he could merge with a Titan? And if we were talking about this before, right? He wanted to, where is it here? Reconstruct human souls alchemically. Do you think he was trying to like reconstruct his own soul in this sense? And he wanted to refine the golden blood to a degree, purity to equal divinity. Is this all an attempt to refine his own blood as well? Maybe. We'll see.
Exactly. When the black tide came, the true reason Anaxa headed to the luminary throne was to transmute and fuse himself with the Titan's core
Once
flame.
again, he's so obsessed with using himself as an experiment. You know what I mean? He'd have to like, I don't know, like it's something that like I hope whenever I say like I admire it, I hope it doesn't sound like I'm saying like I want him to do this. This is again crazy. It's crazy. But there's something about Anaxagoras constantly being like, you know, doing this absolute terrible science and then being like, I'm gonna use my own body for this. You know what I mean? It's insane.
Did he succeed?
No. Judging from how he reacted after the event, the results came as a surprise. Maybe he failed to consider the possibility that Circe would make a similar decision. The manuscripts detailing all the alchemical formulae have been taken away. His research is still ongoing.
He hasn't stopped. So you're saying here, when the Black Titan came, the true reason Anaxa headed to the Luminary Throne to transfuse and fuse himself with the Titan's core flame. But she's saying that like Circe will have the similar decision. So maybe it's because she willingly accepted the core flame, or him as like a Chrysos heir, like he didn't expect this.
Could he have taken them for other purposes?
Like, what? There's only one Titan left in the world now.
What are we doing here? Wait, he's right in front of Capelli, right?
No. No way.
To conceive an entity of perfection, one must first understand the principles of creation. If Anaxa is in Akama now, then that means
Oh my god, what are you talking about?
he's after Kepler.
Yes, oh my god! Holy hell! I freaking, first of all, them saying it at the same time is incredible, but that's so well written. I love that. The fact that we were here like this, right? I'm gonna screenshot all of this stuff as well, by the way, just in case. But I love the fact, right, that we just like bits and pieces so I can have it a reminder. But I love the fact that in our minds as we're watching this, right? As we're reading through this, right? Look, this is why it's so perfect, right? His research is still ongoing. Oh, so it's still happening. He hasn't stopped. Could he have taken it for other purposes? Like what? There's only one Titan in the world now. And then your mind goes, he's standing in front of Kepeli right now. Mm-hmm. We're thinking the same way. No way. And then he says this. He's in Akama. Your mind keeps going to the idea. He's in front of Kepeli. He's after Kepeli. It's so freaking good. Really freaking awesome sequence. Terrifying though.
Sir, this sky above us, it's not real, is it?
Man, this, like, what an interestingly and like, well-written character. Like, holy hell. And well-written sequence.
Of course not. This is just an image from a projection device used for educational purposes. A simple trick.
It's beautiful though, isn't it?
The day-night cycle has been lost to this world. So that students like you may still learn about the night sky, astronomers have harnessed the Titan's miraculous power to manipulate the light, projecting the nights of the past here for you.
So we do know that there is like a day, that's why when Okama, right? It's constantly daytime. So they've literally like freaking manipulated light and harnessed the power of the Titans to make like a night sky, to make like a day-night cycle, I guess.
Much like how the sky above
Very
the
pretty.
holy city is also illuminated by Kefali's dawn device.
Kepeli.
So, the skies of Akama are fake too.
You mustn't conclude that, Anaxa. You should know that only a child would expose a trick and be proud of it. Often people know more than they let on. They simply choose to feign ignorance because they have no other choice.
And they're just deluding themselves. People believe in Kefali's tale of Genesis, accepting wholesale whatever the priests preach. But we're different. We've already walked out of the firelit cave of ignorance.
So when Anaxagoras is talking about how, like, you know, people in, you know, blindly accept the Titans, and then we see later how much they question him as well. So he's saying the skies don't come are fake too. He's saying you mustn't conclude that, because that to me is like saying, like, you know, he's saying like, hey, if you expose a trick and be proud of it, I guess it's like to me it's maybe saying that like that means it's like all mystery and investigation is gone out of it, and people know that this is true. Oh no, he's saying that like people know it's true, but it's like people still go on with their daily lives, like, you know, accepting it.
We have already realized that we live in a world where Titans make the rules. Even when we look at the sky, we're only seeing what they allow us to see.
He's a very rebellious
Rather
streak
than
here as well,
gazing at
right?
This mockery of a night sky fabricated by them for the rest of my life. Why shouldn't I be the one to take control of the projection device instead?
So much time has passed since you sowed the seeds of doubt in my heart, child. Many a night, I find myself penning down all my theories and wild ideas, only to burn them to ashes when I open my eyes in the day.
Why? Because we'll face death by burning if word gets out?
As a sage of the Venerationists, my soul
he's a Venerationist.
has already become inextricably linked to the great tree. Every word I say and every move I make is certain to influence every leaf, every branch, even the tree itself.
Sorry if I'm like trying to like reread everything all the time. Actually, I'm not sorry. I keep saying sorry, but like it's just the phrasing, I guess. You guys are very okay with me rereading stuff. I'm linked to the great tree. So everything I do now has bigger influence, I guess.
But above all else, my days are numbered. Instinctively, I have my doubts about the golden blood
Right.
and the human soul, yet I have no means of verifying them. The golden blood in my veins is woefully thin, and I am loath to waste what little time I have left obsessing over a hypothesis that cannot even be proven in the first place.
Oh my god, and Anaxagoras is like, seems like he's this whole doubts about the golden blood and his soul. It seems like Anaxagoras like made this kind of like his whole work, like the whole thing he wanted to move forward with after this.
But I can, sir. I can do it for us. The time is right. Give me all that I need, and I shall accomplish this grand feat on your behalf.
I don't think he's gonna want him to do it, right? There's a lot that goes into this. This is as you've seen what's happened to Anaxagoras. He has 15 days to live now.
You're right.
Oh, he did. He will.
I shall do just that.
Wow.
In the next meeting of the sages, I will spare no efforts fighting for the rights you deserve.
Interesting. So he was like gonna try and fight for him to like do this type of like soul alchemy and this kind of research.
Go. Establish your own school of thought.
Wow. I think he probably realized as well, though, like, as a venerationist, like, he couldn't, in my view, he couldn't help Anaxagoras any more than he already did, right? It's like he has to go off on his own now and kind of do his own thing.
Find out what we are. Become the one who conquers the ultimate truths of the world.
Again, this is Anaxagoras' whole view. It's like the answers to these questions, right? Who are we? Why are we? How are we? And conquer the truths. He wants him to be the one, and thinks he can be the one that will find out all the truths of all this. Which again, I'm not opposed to people finding out the truths, like, like of this journey people are on, because it is a big life journey, right?
Child of humanity.
She's back with him as well. It's so interesting seeing the past, like when Anaxagoras. He is such a great character.
You didn't go to such lengths for an audience with Philia. Just ask him a few questions, did you?
Do you think she knows that he's after Philia?
So, you figured it out. If I were as foolish as a Dromus, perhaps I'd throw myself down and prostrate before their greatness, begging for the gods' prophetic wisdom. Well, sorry to disappoint, but I'm no Dromus.
Wow.
Alas, I am a human.
Oh my god.
Standing tall on 2 feet, possessing both intellect and pride.
Because people can see this as arrogant. I know he's an arrogant character, but to me, him saying this, like, I'm a human, I'm standing tall, it also is like praising humanity in general. It's like, this is what humans do. We're not Dromasses who are constantly looking down, bowing down. We never look up, right? It's actually like quite beautiful how, like, in praising himself, he also praises humanity.
Before such
Or the potential of humanity.
Does it make any difference whether you're a human or a Dromus?
For the Titans, does it make a difference, like, how big or small you are?
I'm sure you're familiar
Whoa.
with the story of the Styxians.
Whoa!
When the raging waves threatened to swallow them, they didn't just give up and become sitting ducks. No. They
It's
constructed a dam that kept the roaring tide at bay, chaining down the mad Fagusa.
The Ocean Titan is terrifying, by the way. This is beautiful, by the way. The purple lighting, kind of darkness, the kind of like sharp edges. It's like it to me like the idea of Styxia, right? It seems very like hellacious, right? It seems very like hell adjacent.
They call me a blasphemer, Circes. But that doesn't mean I deny the existence of gods.
Right.
It's just, as I see it, Titans are simply a force that mankind has yet to find a way to tame.
And it's not surprising that he thinks this way, right? Like, it's not surprising that, because again, I do think he puts a value on humanity more than people give him credit for.
Oh, if power that rivals the Titans is what you crave, why not conform to the prophecy and brave the trial?
Why stop at harnessing the power of the Titans when I can do so much more?
Anaxagoras.
The source of life is what I wish to grasp, to understand what makes up the soul, and to learn what we really are.
Yep.
Thanks to you, I've had the chance to personally verify in more ways than one, that the soul indeed ceases to exist in death. But where there is death, there is life. And where there is an end, there must also be a beginning.
Does this also relate to a lot of the research he was talking about when it came to the merging of a soul with a Titan creation? And also, he said, going back to the idea of like of humans with Chrysosaur's blood in them possibly becoming Titans as well. Like there was like a new beginning there as well. I wonder if like it relates to all that as well. Like there isn't, death just isn't the end. There's also something after that. And with him dying right now as well, it becomes a very heavy phrasing, right?
How then is a soul born? That was the only unknown variable left in my calculations.
And by the sound of it, you have already formed a conjecture.
Let's go. Let's go.
No, I have already drawn a conclusion. In my journey unto death just now, I finally saw the answer with my own eyes.
Is it the vision he saw?
Professor Anaxa.
Oh?
I'm here. Her life hangs by a thread. I must ask you to refrain from taking any unnecessary steps.
Again, thinking about Stell in this moment too. Remember he said that Castros will be on our side. So I wonder what's going to happen here with Castros now. I hope that he stays true to her and doesn't do anything crazy, because I know he's in the mindset now that it's, you know, especially when someone like as like driven as him is so close to like his goal or his conjecture or his final hypothesis. You know, I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I'm saying that like that can take over your mind 110%.
Of course. I'll bring this to a conclusive end and give you the answer you so desire. However, in accordance with the principle of equivalent exchange, I must also demand from you what I need.
Oh yeah?
As you wish.
Because she's been desperate to find the stuff with the Death Titan all this time, right? And if he's able to relay, I don't know if that's what he's doing, relay the idea of like the stuff with Pelixia to her, I wonder if that would change things.
Don't you care to know what the price might be?
It's a matter of uncovering the truth about the Death Titan and her survival.
Oh my god, Castros, you're amazing.
This may be the only time I can ever save someone's life.
Whoa.
There is no need for me to think twice.
And we know this is such a huge part of Castros' story, is the idea of her loving life and having such a care for life and holding dead people in their hands as they get ferried off into, like, you know, the afterlife or whatever. You can tell that it hurts her. You can tell the idea of not being able to save people hurts her. She values life so much.
I see. In that case, let the show begin.
This is terrifying.
Indulge me. Am I correct to say that you intend to prove Thanatos' whereabouts and prove the nature of our existence now?
Before I begin, I must confess I had been stuck in a cognitive trap all this time.
Oh yeah?
As unrelated as these two propositions may seem at first glance, they are in fact logical equivalents. They are merely two different ways of telling us about what the soul is at its core.
So he's saying that the idea of where Thanatos is and also the nature of our existence are related. They're logical equivalents. And both of them can tell us about what a soul actually is. Right?
The reason I say this is as I've mentioned earlier. The answer was hidden in my journey unto death.
Okay.
Professor, you were in the Netherrealm?
She seems so excited about this, right?
Yes, I am but a living dead man now. But that's not important. What truly matters is, I overheard a conversation between heroes.
Yep. I'm so excited to hear what he thinks about this. You know what I mean? What his conclusions are to this.
That's not all. Remember how I said you were a part of that conversation too?
Calypso was
Sissies?
there, right?
And I've told you that I have no recollection of such an event. That was likely just an illusion conjured up by the mind of a dying man.
You know what's so funny? Anaxagoras is so used to people saying this about every one of his hypotheses. You know, that's just whatever, blasphemy. You know, I'm not saying she's saying that, but like he's always turned away with this stuff.
Of course you would remember.
Let's go, Anaxagoras. Let's go.
Because that wasn't you. That was Calypso, one of the 7 sages of the
Yes.
Calypso.
You thought you were talking to Calypso at one point, if you remember Castris.
That's the name I made up on a whim when speaking to this girl. How do
What
you
if
know
Circe's
it?
didn't make it up on a whim? What if we said like if there's a possibility humans can become Titans? What if Calypso became Circe's, and that name is just always in the back of her brain?
And surely you jest. Don't you think I, of all people, would know if that were the name of one of the 7 sages under the shade of my tree? Don't you claim to know the grove's past like the back of your hand?
Like, what if there's a possibility here that like they forget their past as soon as they become Titans? You know?
It seems you've lost even the memories
Yeah.
seared into your soul.
That's what I'm thinking. Holy hell. Okay. This is so awesome. I know it's terrifying, but it's awesome, guys.
Use your head, Circes. Since all of this took place in the realm of the dead, it stands to reason their likenesses are of souls from the past. The living cannot step foot into that world, so who could they be? Think about Calypso. Why does she share your likeness? Yet you have no idea who she is.
My heart's kind of pounding because he's going towards a conclusion, which I don't think it's gonna be exactly my hypothesis, but I think that I still want to find out what it is, you know?
The answer is evident, is it not? Those fallen heroes are the mortal incarnations of the Titans before their ascensions to godhood. The gods aren't master creators born out of thin air, and they are no different from
Anaxagoras.
humans, because they all evolved.
Oh my god. Because this is what we were thinking, right? The idea that from the conversation, well, not along this line. This whole line here, I think, is so new to us and fresh to us. The idea of this is the meaning behind all of this stuff. Because I was just saying last time that the idea of can humans become Titans? That was the big question. That was the name of the title of the video. Can humans become Titans? And it's interesting that we got that all from that conversation of the idea of them becoming ascending to, but the way how do I say? We got that idea of them becoming Titans is such an interesting theory, right? But the way Anaxagoras says this is so interesting because he says they are incarnations of Titans before they became gods, which means they're not some divine forces that just shot out of the sky. It's not the way people talk about God, where God just sprouted one day and became this god. No, they are humans who ascended to godhood. They all were humans at one point. Pelixia, Nias, Calypso, right? Yeah. Holy hell, Anaxagoras. I think he's going to go down as one of the most important characters in Amphoreus history, right? How could he not at this stage?
Does this answer disappoint you?
I just love the Anaxagoras story in Amphoreus. I freaking love it.
Yes, because you've answered nothing. If I truly was once human, as you claim, then where do the children of humanity come from?
And I love that she asked this question because I feel like it's fair, right? And I'm not, again, as you guys know, I'm not religious, but I think if you're having discussions about where did the gods come from and where do this come from, I think it's fair to ask then where do people come from, you know?
Even on the off chance that you speak the truth, this brings us no closer to grasping Thanatos' whereabouts. How are we to find them?
And again, she's saying off chance not because she's saying that he's wrong, because she's saying that this is still a new theory that has been expressed to people, right?
I knew you would say that.
Oh my god. This is him debating two people again.
But it matters not. I know what I'm doing. Actually, why don't we have this supreme being standing before us tell us everything?
Kepli?
You can revive a Titan?
Am I wrong in saying that the whole build up here with him talking throughout the last episode, he's probably going to say something like, are they even dead? Are they dead?
Humans cannot return from the dead. Neither can gods.
I think he's going to say he was alive. He's alive.
But all we need to do is look at this from a different perspective, and the problem will resolve itself. The solution is simple. Just like what you did to me.
Like merging? Like joining the Kepali's soul?
If I'm reborn as Kefali, I can rebuild the world and all within it as they once did. Simple, is it not?
I don't think anything's ever that simple though, is it? Wait, what are we doing? In the meantime.
I have news from Hyacinth and Dan Heng. Anaxa might be trying to do something with Kefali's divine body.
Again, I always say when Honkai Star Rail does this change of perspectives, it's like one of those situations where every time it's going to be like, please stay, but then they do something really interesting, so I'm never like worried. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? And then it's like, oh, it's Stel, fine on a glide. This is going to be really interesting, you know?
Kefali? But what could Anaxa want? Is the Council of Elders going to sit around and let such a sacrilegious act unfold?
I don't think they're fully aware of what Anaxagoras is doing.
That is not possible. He is indeed the great performer, capable of fooling anyone.
Yes, that's his nickname. And
tricks.
he did that. We saw him do that to Canis. We saw him do that. He took her to the circus, you know, and made her a clown.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, don't say sorry.
No need.
Everyone says so sorry all the time in this
good news to
world.
us. The Council of Elders has found themselves a traitorous ally. Anaxa's ambitious desires will be something we can exploit.
Whoa, something we'd exploit.
What we should be doing now is to keep our eyes peeled for whichever trickery Canis is up to, and react accordingly to thwart her plans.
Sure.
Being Akima's political center, the Demigod Council holds just as much significance as the Vortex of Genesis. Someday, after my duty is over, this site will take the place of the battlefield where you hunt gods.
Whoa.
Become the next challenge you ought to overcome.
The way she talks about her ending, by the way, is so solemn, right?
Till then, it's best to get used to this place as soon as possible.
We'll be waiting here for your good news. Come find us anytime you need something. So she's leaving us here? No, sorry, she's going off to have a conversation, I think. Possibly. No.
Preposterous! The Christosairs only have their standing because of the Council of Elders. How dare they trample over it?
Oh my god, do you guys ever take a day off from being dumb? I'm sorry, I don't want to call, like, it's just like every 2 seconds with these guys, oh, the Christosairs there. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, you're trying to, and again, I have no I don't like calling people stupid, but I will when people act like they're better than other people. Instantly.
Oh, wow. These people are shooting daggers with their eyes.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Kratos. But we've never met.
That's fine. I recognize you. The young lord has nothing but good words about your courage.
Who's the young lord? Midamos?
It has indeed been some
Or
time,
Finon?
Lord Kratos. What brings you here in such haste?
Wait, look at all the people. Look at all the people lined up. Oh my god, look at them all.
Shh, keep it down.
Hmm?
Be more vigilant. See those duplicitous dogs over there? They do the dirty work for kindness.
And of course he would have experience like in stuff like this as well.
I've already ordered my people to hold them back, but we should still lay low. Unless you're itching for a bloody fight to get a workout in.
I mean, I'm up for it, but...
My bad. So, did something happen?
Did you hear thunderclaps last night?
Thunderclaps. It would be hard not to notice the thunderclaps in broad daylight. No, I'm a heavy sleeper. Hurrah, it's Acheron coming to save us.
Hacker. What?
I mean, life was beautiful back then too, wasn't it? Acheron just coming to save us.
She's been through a lot lately. Please pardon her. Can you tell us more about these thunderclaps?
Please.
Thunderclaps are beacon signals of strife. They are a message from the young lord.
Whoa.
He threw a spear bearing several words at Akama.
That's so sick.
Watch out. Flame Reaver is back.
Oh my freaking! So obviously they weren't killed in the moment, and I'm not surprised. I want to make that clear. Like I just didn't expect him to come back at this point. But I think like we all kind of knew that, like, to me anyway, personally, like they weren't gonna create this amazing villain and just have them just be destroyed in that moment, even though it was a really cool moment. But like this is dangerous, especially right now when we're trying to get into all this political stuff. It's a really terrible time.
I guessed as much. We didn't actually kill them back at the Kremlis arena.
And I just went from a writing perspective. Honkai Star Rail isn't going to make an amazing character like that, an amazing villain, and just kill them off right after they show up.
I figured this is something you would want to know. We Kremnoans never back down from a fight. So if you plan to take that thing down in a battle...
Oh, sick.
Reach out to me anytime.
Oh, sick. By the way, Mightimos, like, obviously, is that not terrifying that Mightimos just probably saw him revive right in front of him and, like, left?
You have my gratitude. I will let Aglaya know about this right away.
Yeah, 100%.
Remind her to be on her toes while you're at it. That vicious kindness has been unusually active lately.
Yeah, she's horrible with kindness.
Those lackeys she keeps undercover have been going in and out of the city a lot more frequently these days. Some even seem to be getting Kremnoans to defect to the council.
Oh. Are they talking to us or Aglaya?
That's her.
Looks like you can see it.
They might be talking to
yourself.
Aglaya in this sense.
We should get back. Thank you for the intel, Lord Krateros.
It's not really a fair setting if you have people shouting at, like, people they disagree with in that way, right? 100%. Obviously, if people are evil, there's a difference. Look at this crowd. But in this case, it's like they're shouting over, like what I'm assuming is Aglaya. Maybe it's us. But it's not fair. You know what I mean? It's not an impartial crowd, but then again, I guess it's people, right? They're making their voices known, I suppose.
A reward with no risk.
I suppose.
I'll take it.
So we have to inform Aglaya about some things. Let's talk to Aglaya.
By Catholi until Lent and above,
Lygus.
as the Theoros, I have observed.
What have you observed?
Virtuous citizens of Akama, fine and Navides, Elysiae, and the Outlander are heading toward us.
Oh, so he's able to see this? Not just from us walking over a bridge here? I see with my vision they are heading towards me. We can all see that too, Lygus. Yes, you can see it through me. No, we can see them walking down the hallway. No, yes, my eyes can see. I know he's just trying to be like very spiritual, I guess. Or...
What happened here?
Finance already pretty here.
I know about the poisonous fangs of that king snake through the golden threads. In the past, I would be confident about keeping her in check, but I admit I am now unable to do so.
So kindness is what we're talking about here again?
What do you mean?
It is no longer about eloquence or arguments. I have been a demigod for far too long that I hardly have any humanity left. Before I realized it, I have become no different from these hypocrites.
Interesting.
No longer capable of relating to the people.
So she's saying she no longer has like isn't in touch with her human side?
This has come a lot sooner than I expected. But perhaps it is time. I need you to step up, finally.
Whoa.
In order for me to retreat behind the scenes.
Do you think this is because she believes that Finan can relate to the humans much more than she can? Even though we know she cares about humanity, but maybe it's just because she's become such a figure of, like, divinity that it's really difficult to separate her in that sense, you know?
Yes, this is my duty, but...
It is far easier for the Council of Elders to fool many than just fool one person. Their so-called more support is no more than a ruse to distribute power using words instead of lances.
Okay.
There is no glory in winning this debate, but that makes having respect for humans so much more priceless. Finan, you are a Chrysos heir without flaw, capable of relating deeply with humans.
So she wants his relatability here. She wants him to be that relatability to these people.
I appreciate what you've taught me, Aglaya. I hope we'll live up to your expectations and win this debate.
What are you laughing for, huh? What are you laughing for, huh?
Oh, you've done well, Lord Calictus.
Whoa.
Let me take over and personally close this debate for today.
She's taking pleasure. This is what I'm saying. Like, she doesn't care about the people. She wants to win. She loves the idea of trying to take down Aglaia and the Chrysosairs. She wants to win. She wants a victory
Dearest counselors, let it be known that I sorely miss the blissful times portrayed in lyrical poems.
Stop.
Back then, Amphoreus was home to nearly 1,000 cities, each with their own local faith, while gods walked the earth and shared close bonds with humans.
This is a manipulative thing that people do where it's like, I miss the old times. Don't you miss the old times? Let's bring it back to the old times. And then when they eventually do get in power, they have no power to bring it back to the old times because that's not how the world works. Progress cannot be stopped. It's a train that keeps moving. You can't stop the train. You know what I mean? It's really difficult. Once the train is going, you only either jump off or, you know, you wait for it to like stop at a point where you can like, you know, readjust yourself. This whole idea of like, it's playing on people's emotions in a way that's very manipulative. You know, because again, what are people going to think? If you're someone who was struggling now, who 20 years ago wasn't struggling, your first thought is, wow, I'd love to go back to the time of lyrical poems and blissful times. You know, I'd love that. You know, but again, you're not, it's manipulative.
Yet, in the present, people from all over are forced to leave their homeland to seek refuge in the holy city, where they hope to rest under Kephales's protection. All of us have long been in the same boat, with no way out of this plight. We didn't have a choice in the past, but now the Council of Elders brings to the table a new possibility.
What is the possibility?
All I have left is one question for you.
Give us a 10-year plan, Kindness. Give us the 10-year plan.
Would you rather strive toward the unheard of Era Nova, or return to the prosperous Era Crisia?
How are you going to do that, though?
Make your choice.
Explain fully. You should have to explain that.
Now, which of the two would lead mortals to an ideal future?
Again, I feel like it's so manipulative to be like, would you rather this thing that could be true, or would you rather go back to the simpler times where we all hugged each other in front of the TV box? It's like, no, you're still selling something that's just as idealistic. It's just that you're making it sound more realistic, in my view. I stand by the Era Nova. If it's possible to bring the Era Crisia back, I don't know, man. I'm just going against whatever she says.
Era Nova is a path of salvation the gods promised. We should not have doubts in the Flame Chase journey.
Can I be honest? I have doubts, and I put my doubts in a lot of things. People think that I'm someone who, like, and I see this sometimes, and I'm not angry. Sometimes people think that I am, like, naive, or that I like, accept things, like, really easily. But in reality, like, I do have doubts about everything, but I also just don't always express, like, my doubts in a way that sounds very hateful. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't believe in this. It's not that I believe in the Flame Chase journey so, you know, aggressively. It's the fact that, like, I believe in the people within the Flame Chase journey enough to, like, want to have their best interests at heart and understand that they are trying and they do care about humanity. It's less about the Flame Chase journey itself and more about the emotions and the people behind it. I trust Aglaia's care for people. I trust Finon's care for people. I trust that more than I do the Flame Chase journey. So I'm going to go on Aglaia's side.
We all know that Era Crisia is a thing of the past, Lady Kindness.
That's my view.
Please, enlighten me. How does the Council of Elders plan to turn back time?
We're going to give everyone a TV box and you can watch old reruns and cartoons and sit together, and the kids will be on the floor, the mom and dad will be in the chair, divorce will be illegal. Like all this. Okay, bro.
Let the three titans of calamity be born, and Era Crisia is nevermore. But bring demise to those titans, and Era Crisia will descend upon us again.
How? Oh.
Know that the Council of Elders is never one to make empty promises. look at who we have on our
Yeah, but I think there's something to this now as well. I think he told Castor something.
Anaxagoras, one of the Grove's 7 sages, and Castorus, Idonia's goddess of death.
Is this the equivalent exchange? He said, hey, be on my side during this.
With the help of these 2 heroes, I can promise all of you that Era Crisia will exist once more.
Again, it's such a vague promise, isn't it? It's such a vague promise. A little few cheers from the crowd.
Aren't they Chrysos heirs? They're supporting the Council of Elders instead?
I like older stuff. I like when jellies cost 50 cents. That was good though, wasn't it?
That these heroes do not get along well in their group. All the more proof that Aglaia isn't fit to speak on behalf of every
That's what it does.
I am in favor of Era Crisia.
It's the same thing, right? If you see, like, how do I say it? Like, let's say like you're someone's going up for like a presidency, and someone who has been so against that current president for so long stands beside them. There's this mentality amongst people where people will be like, wait a second, if even Johnny Bagoni is standing beside Timmy McGraw, then he must be good. You know, and again, I'm not trying to insult these people. I'm not. These are tactics that are actually really, really smart to employ. You know? It's like, even he believes in it? You know what I mean? It's the same thing when, like, you know, Beyonce stands with a presidential candidate. There's people that go like, oh my god, Beyonce, I trust her morals. You know, and it's just how things go. It's just people's minds go to that sometimes.
Era Crisia! Era Crisia!
Yeah. I'm not surprised it's the outcome of this view, right? Not at all. Not at all. They're going mad about this too. I want divorce to be illegal again. Of course Castorus isn't into this idea. Of course not. Like 100%.
Castorus? Why are you standing over there?
You finally arrived, Anaxa. So have you,
Cass. The way she says her name with a softer tone, right?
Don't worry, Aglaia. Well, I know that you have many queries. Could you continue to converse like how the citizens normally do?
He said, hey, just let's get through this.
Tell me, dear citizens.
Every time he opens his mouth, I'm so intently listening.
If we successfully retrieve and return Thanatos' coreflame without anyone passing the Death Titan's trial, what would happen next?
Wait, so he's... Okay, I'll let him speak.
The answer is simple. We will have a chance to rid the world of death.
Whoa.
And bring Amphoreus back to an era when all beings live forever. We'll usher in a new future that will be entirely different from the flame chase journey.
Is it just me, or does she use so many buzzwords, right? She's using so many buzzwords.
He's one of the 7 sages.
Your proposal is much too idealistic.
I agree.
As long as the Black Tide still exists, how can we go back to the old days?
Is she gonna say the Minimos is fighting that off?
Remember what I previously said? Kefali's coreflame is guarded by the secret power of the Council of Elders. Plus, Fagusa's water curtain will be able to block out any external perceptions.
Okay.
Tell me, dear citizens, have any of you ever seen even a glimpse of the threat that this person is talking about anywhere within the walls of this majestic holy city?
But the place will be a Flame Reaver's target sooner or later. Isn't this just survivorship bias is incredible, by the way. I'm glad Stella's thinking of this. Or maybe we're playing as Finan. But the thing is, like, it is so true. It's like, just because we haven't seen it, you know? Just because we haven't seen this stuff?
If we eliminate death, then there's no need for us to fear that Flame Reaver, right?
Can you hear eliminating death?
Citizens, let's loudly sing the blessed hymn. Oh, beautiful old world, where are you now? Oh, legendary Era Crisia, return to the mortal realm.
All right, let's sing the national anthem. Like, it just really sounds like she knows how to manipulate the people so well. She's doing a fantastic job of it, you know? All right, hands in your heart, everybody. You know?
After the destruction of the 3 Titans of Calamity, the flame chase journey will have to end.
Again, there's no doubt that this is exciting. The flame chase journey ends. No more death. This is beautiful. This is like I can sit here and judge people, but like, again, as I always say, if someone came to me right now and said, Calvin, we can remove all death from the world, you tell me you wouldn't think about it like and really want to do this? Obviously, like, there's like, you know, I don't think there's many people that would say no, you know?
This is bad. The masses are now totally riled up.
Yep.
Anaxa, pray tell. Everything that you've mentioned hinges on the premise that we can find Thanatos' existence.
Right? So if they take Thanatos' core flame without someone doing the trial, that means there's no more death in the world. That means there's no one to replace that. Is that what they're saying? There's no one there to like take on Thanatos' journey.
Thank you, Lady Aglaya, for still caring about this city. However, dear citizens, we are truly fortunate and blessed. For Castorus, Idonia's goddess of death, will surely find Thanatos under my guidance.
What the hell?
What?
Yeah, what the?
With that, I solemnly promise that the coreflame Lady Castorus brings back will be personally managed by the Council of Elders.
I wouldn't let the Council of Elders manage a Tamagotchi.
Thereafter, if we are able to garner the support of all of you at the Citizens' Assembly, we shall spare no effort in ensuring that the Era Crisia will return to our world.
Again, it's too idealistic. What the hell? I bet they're cheering in excitement.
With the balance shattered, the result is clear. Buy carefully into Lenten above, as the Theoros I have observed. Akama has chosen her destiny.
Whoa.
The issue up for discussion at this Citizens' Assembly shall be modified to the suspension of the flame chase journey. This resolution shall be put up on the wall of heroes.
Is this they have to vote on now?
That all citizens are aware of the city's way.
This is huge if it is like that. Or oh no, it seems like since the assembly has been modified to suspension of the flame chase journey, maybe they don't even have to vote on it? Oh my god. It seems like it was a very one-sided debate, right? It seemed like they had an answer for everything.
Aglaya, dear Aglaya, what has caused your heart to
Anaxa.
You also don't seem to be as quick-witted as before.
Wag your tongue as much as you like.
Jesus.
Since the flame chase journey has been preordained by the prophecy.
Oh my god.
Our failure
oh my
has
god.
never been on the cards.
Oh my god. The tension between these two is always amazing. And Aglaya just basically, he said to her, oh, you become so soft, Aglaya. And she goes like, oh yeah, say whatever the hell you want. We ain't failing. You know what I mean? Like, so it's such two simple lines back and forth with each other.
Well then, I guess we'll find out if that's true at the Citizens' Assembly.
So that's what they're voting on. Is that what I'm saying? The vote that people are going to, or at least the topic for the Citizens' Assembly is going to be, should we suspend the flame chase journey? Seems to be the topic. Lygus announces the conclusion of the debate, and the attendees part ways.
Castorus. What's going on?
We're going to have to talk to her, right? 100% we're going to have to talk to her. What I got from that, for me, was Kindness is... Beautiful phone. Kindness wants to obviously bring this back to the era of the Era Crisia and all this stuff, right? Whilst at the same time, she wants to suspend the flame chase journey because she believes that if we can remove death from this world, we'll have no fear of the Black Tide, no fear of all this stuff, no fear of the Flame Reaver. So we will be able to have this, this pure world and go back to this world where everyone was like happy and everyone was like, living harmoniously. And the thing is, like, this is something that has been used in terms of like any time, and this is why I was say like Honkai Star Rail reflects real life situations. And it's not just current times. It is current times, but it's also like a bunch of different times. Like this happens in Ireland, every single country. A politician knows how to like focus on what people want and manipulate that. It is the easiest thing in the world to tell people who are down on the luck to be like, hey, would you like to go back to the time when like bacon only cost $1? You know what I mean? And this has been a thing since, I want to make this clear, this has been a thing since politics were a thing. This has been a thing like, and it happens like in Ireland as well. Like I've seen it so many times where like a politician will come along in Ireland and be like, you know what? I remember a day when Ireland where you go down to the shop and you buy your milk and your eggs and your bread and you come home and you sit down with your lovely kids as they ask if they can play on the street, and they go outside and they play, and you could unlock the door and everything was great. And then people go like, oh my God, I do remember that time. I do remember when life was like that and I could not lock my door. And it's like, but then like people don't talk about the other terrible things. And I talk about Ireland as an example because it's like people will be like, oh, I'd love to go back to that time. It's like, oh yeah, contraception was illegal. It was illegal to divorce your husband, no matter the circumstances. Priests had more control of the country than actual people. What do you mean if you're a single father, you have your children taken away from you? It's all these different things, like these rules in Ireland in the past is like, let's go back. And you could say, well, Calvin, they're talking about going back to a time, but I'm saying like the reason why people reminisce about a time is because again, what Stell here said was so true. It's like there's like a survivor's bias, where it's like, well, I had a great time back in the 50s. I was, having a great time. There was no, nothing strange, nothing weird, and that's the thing that Irish people, politicians would use all the time. And in this sense, that's what we're having here with kindness, in my opinion, which is like playing on the emotions of people. This is a tumultuous time, and if you tell people you can go back to this time beforehand, people tend to not remember the sadder parts of those aspects. Because I have this all the time as well, by the way. There's plenty of times where I remember specifically, I'd be like, man, I really missed that time when I was like with this person or hanging out with this person. But then if you think about it for long enough, you go, oh yeah, but that was awful. And there's a reason I'm not there anymore. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't think about that sometimes because we tend to like sometimes, reminisce about stuff in a very fantastic way. Even though it wasn't that like, great. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. I think it is like a very like manipulative thing in that sense. Let's go talk to Castros anyway. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not, I don't want to insult the people, by the way. Because I feel like that's always like a really bad path to go down. But there is always going to be an attempt to play on people's emotions, and especially during a tumultuous time. The most basic horrible analogy I could use is that if someone's in severe pain, their opinions on what they want to do with that severe pain and what actions they want to take are different from if they were fully healthy and happy, right? It's completely different. If you ask someone now, or it's like one thing, if you ask someone like, hey, do you want to remove death from this world when they just lost their husbands, compared to like years later or when they're in a more emotionally stable state, you might get a different answer. It's definitely playing on people's emotions. I would definitely want to talk to Castros now as well.
Well, it seems that when I sent you to look for Anaxa, I unintentionally facilitated your partnership with him.
I think Castros is going to be very hurt by this, or like bent shape, not bent, sorry. She's going to be very like torn up about this. But I think Aglaia should realize something's up here. 100%. Look at her expression. Jesus Christ, we have to know.
My apologies, everyone. I know that you have many questions to ask me. I will answer them to the best of my knowledge.
Yep.
In that case, please tell us as much as you can.
Please. So what happened when you went to look for Anaxa? We want to learn all this stuff, right?
In actuality, he showed me a past that was both long and heavy.
Interesting way to phrase it, right? Let's go.
The reason I say this,
so glad we're back here,
as I've mentioned earlier. The answer was hidden in my journey unto death.
Professor, you were in the Netherrealm?
Again, you can't help but notice and it makes her so interesting, the excitement in Castros' voice, right? Because it's something that like she was probably not able to achieve. It's something that makes maybe closer to the idea of the Death Titan as well.
Yes, I am but a living dead man now, but that's not important. What truly matters is, I overheard a conversation between heroes.
Right. Whoa.
Have you heard of this tale before?
Pelixia.
A tale about the ocean god's treasured pearl, our hometown. It was a seaside town which enjoyed the ocean breeze and glorious, peaceful times, thanks to the wisdom of its ruling queen.
Is this Styxia?
Until one day,
yes,
an evil dragon descended upon the town. Its wings were large enough to blot out the sun, while its claws were sharp enough to rip the wings apart.
Sick way of describing it. So Pelixia was from Styxia. They probably said that before as well, but like it just maybe slipped my mind. But that means if we're going along the lines of saying I still believe the Castris is, if we're from the perspective of Castris now as well, it kind of like maybe confirms in a way that they have some relation, right? Especially if Castris has been around for that long, which means that the story of Styxia and the dragon and the princess maybe hits a lot closer to home.
It barged into the tall tower and devoured the queen's beloved daughter. It even settled itself in her bedroom like a tyrant king.
Such a terrifying story, isn't it?
The queen assembled 300 warriors who managed to subdue the evil dragon by chaining it up. However, when the queen slit open the dragon's belly, she realized that the princess had long since been digested, and all that was left of her was a pile of bones. Devastated, the queen wept for several days.
This is the story we heard before. I love the artwork, by the way. It's gorgeous, but also terrifying.
It was then that a devious, smooth-talking scholar arrived at the palace and suggested that the princess could be revived through the use of dragon bone and dragon blood. That liar called this process the secret art of alchemy.
Man, it's, you know what's so funny? It's very interesting that like now Anaxagoras is kind of like the smooth talking, not smooth talk, we know what I mean, he's like this scholar that's talking to Castris now.
The princess was reborn.
This artwork.
The queen was overjoyed, blissfully unaware that the evil dragon's soul still lurked within the princess's body. As revenge, the evil dragon swallowed the poor queen, the glib liar, the courageous warriors, and all of the town's innocent civilians in a single gulp. Worse still, the souls of the deceased refused entry to the Netherrealm because they were filled with regret. Forced to roam the mortal realm, these resentful souls ultimately converged into a river of souls that would not retreat for a long time.
Is that similar to the river that Maidemos was dropped into? Or am I thinking something different here?
The terrifying death had consumed all. Thereafter, our hometown fell into ruin as well.
So that Styxia wasn't their hometown. Or maybe it was part of it.
Until?
We're getting to see a fragmented image memory of Calypso and Pelixia?
Until? Actually, I don't know what happened next either.
She actually sounds like a sweetheart.
Oh my. It seems that you still like to whet people's appetites even after all this time, Pelixia.
Like cutting off the story?
So, according to your story, this is how I used to look? It's practically a mirror image.
For sure.
And yet, what exactly is this?
A miracle that I created with alchemy.
Jesus Christ.
As for what it is and how I was able to accomplish it, I'll keep the answers to myself.
I think Anaxagoras is insane in the best way possible. How did you create this image of this memory? Science. Don't worry about it.
Oh, my goodness. Is this cliffhanger really necessary?
I kind of love it. You okay, Castris?
Quiet, Titan. Continue to enjoy this splendid play, and the truth will naturally reveal itself.
He's been waiting to say Quiet Titan his whole life, hasn't he? He's been waiting to say that for his whole life. That had vitriol in it. Listen to this.
Quiet Titan.
Quiet Titan. Like he was thinking about that for a while. He was like, I have to find some opportunity to say Quiet Titan.
Dragon, huh? I've heard this legend before.
In that case, what do you think of it?
The sweet voice of Pelixia here.
I think that this so-called alchemy was a tenuous analogy added to the story by future generations. After all, you've never heard of a tradition of alchemy in your hometown before, have you?
Indeed. Before I left home to pursue my education, I never even knew that
Whoa.
anybody was looking into this area of study.
This design is so cool as well. But to me, like, as you guys can, to me, like, the ears, even the hair design, I know we can't see a full color thing, but you can see why I'm kind of like, this is so, it feels so very Casterus related, no matter how it's related. But look at all the bandages, the thing over the eye, it's a really interesting design.
Therefore, we can just treat this tale as a fable told to young children.
A fable, you say? If so, what moral is it trying to impart to the kids?
Respect life?
I guess it might be the concept of equivalent exchange.
Oh? I thought the moral might be closer to something like honor the dead.
Can I take a win here a little bit from me and Pelixia having the same mindset? Because while I think honor the dead and respect life are different, but they're also similar. Because what I was thinking was that idea. It's like, instead of trying to bring people back, honor them after they're gone and respect the idea of the life that they have instead of trying to recreate life, right? Me and Pelixia, man, best buds. You know, maybe me and Pelixia are more emotional, less than analytical, possibly. Or laugh.
At a loss for words?
Yeah, even her outfit seems very Casterus to me.
No, I merely realized that we're both thinking of the same principle. If life is priceless, then there is hardly anything else in this world that is of equal weight to it, right?
Indeed. As expected of the wisest scholar in the land.
You flatter me. Why don't I ask you a question as well, as a form of equivalent exchange?
Of course. What is your question?
If I imparted my knowledge of the art of alchemy to you, would you use it to resurrect someone you loved?
Very, very, very interesting question, right? How would you use this knowledge?
What? What kind of strange question is this? I got it. You're just trying to get me to tell you whether I like anyone, right?
Like what, if she likes someone enough to bring them back?
Let's just leave it at that. That was rude of me.
Yes, I would.
Oh?
Death is inevitable. In the days to come, I'm certain that someone whom I cherish deeply will leave me for good.
Her tone of her voice even changed here?
If such a mighty power really existed, I think I would use it without hesitation.
And again, this is what we were saying earlier, right? The idea that, like, we can act like high and mighty about the idea, and I can act high and mighty about the idea of resurrection. But if, like, someone I love died, and you told me I can bring them back, you know? All my respect for the dead, quote unquote, goes out the window.
After all, you, me, and the rest will all have to face that fateful moment eventually.
And it's difficult. It's so difficult. I love her following Pelixia right now. I was going to end the video like a bit ago, but I feel like there's, you know, we have to keep going with this stuff.
My time is finally here. However, perhaps because of my firm belief in the immeasurable value of life, I am unable to complete the trial.
Which trial is this now? Is this a trial to merge with Thanatos?
You shall wither, and through that, the dead will sprout again from the remains and be reborn with the dead flame. It is a pity that fate is such a cruel mistress.
It's horrid.
Is there no other way of interpreting those words?
I'm afraid that the meaning is clear. Between my sister and me, one must pay the price. Our trial can only be completed when the one chosen sacrifices her
So
life.
I think this is the sacrifice of their own life to create, or to become the Titan, right?
I'm afraid that the prophecy might even have selected a pair of twins.
Twins.
For this
Because I was thinking younger and older, possibly.
Fortune makes fools of us all.
My sister is prepared to sacrifice herself. And yet, I can't do the same.
So she feels like she can't, which is, again, it's understandable you wouldn't be able to do this.
How absurd. My time is almost up, but I'm still afraid to welcome
So
death.
normal, right? This is so interesting to me.
What should we do? If I'm ultimately not able to make up my mind...
Since Chaos is willing to guide all of us and leave this trial to the end, there is still plenty of time for you to ponder.
That's right. Don't allow the fog of an uncertain future to cloud your mind.
Trial, prophecy, the topics that they're discussing seem familiar.
Right.
But these three people must not have left their names in the epics. Otherwise, I would have some recollection of this.
That's an interesting way to think of it as well. They probably weren't as well known because we don't know, really, we don't talk about them. We would have talked about them by now. And we don't know about the idea of like the humans becoming Titans or where Titans come from, you know. We didn't know about that before either.
Amphoreus' history before the Titans were born was complete chaos. Is that not strange by itself?
That means it's probably very uncertain.
I have long held 3 hypotheses about this. However, let's continue watching for now.
Calypso. Pelixia. And this warrior... I seem to have met him somewhere before.
It reminds you of Nias, right? That's what it reminds me of, Nias. The voice even. So she doesn't have a recollection of this person, right? But again, that wouldn't surprise me too much since Cersei's doesn't have a recollection, but I'm wondering like what that could, you know, but that's different because she's actually a Titan.
Regarding this matter, Nias.
Yeah, Nias.
Are you confident that you'll complete your...
Casper knows Nias very well.
Of course. Though, I am worried about what will happen once I've emerged victorious.
Looks like you have made up your mind.
Yes, this is the safest course of action.
Completely separating courage, honor, tenacity, sacrifice, and reason.
Is this the tenets of Kremnos?
You really know how to make things difficult.
Is that the separation of what they did with because this is the freaking wait, that's literally the statues that they separate all the stuff into, right?
Please, young lady, witness my fall and demise. Lady Calypso, you shall host the soul-rending ceremony.
Right, I'm right in saying that this is where we had to like reclaim all the souls and combine them once again to create Nikador, right?
I do not understand. Why would you dare to sacrifice yourself for a future that you won't get to witness?
Because this is our destiny. The power that resides within me is so intense that I will one day be engulfed by it. Furthermore, a valorous death before glorious return has always been the path I chose to walk. A journey I began long ago. If your sister or Kaos were in my position, I believe they would make the same choice as well.
So this is the Kremno's mentality, right? The glorious return through death. And he's saying that your sister would feel the same.
I'm not that brave. I don't know how I'm supposed to face such a serious affair.
Despite being Death's chosen one, it seems you still don't know how to face it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting phrasing there, right? Being Death's chosen one, because she was chosen to adopt. They said this in the last time, right? She was chosen to like kind of become the Titan of Death. Just as Nias, I guess, will become the Titan of Strife, right? And just how Calypso, I'm presuming, would become the Titan of Reason.
Let's chat, young lady. Perhaps I shouldn't end my journey so
That's nice of
hastily.
Nias.
Since there's still time, I'm not worried about letting fate wait a little longer.
Of course. This warrior is Lord Nias.
You remember, he affected your heart a lot.
As the embodiment of Nikador's divinity, he entrusted his life to us and allowed humankind to end his madness.
He was desperately trying to get back to his body, right?
That means that what I'm currently seeing before my eyes is, in fact...
Looks like one hypothesis of mine has already been proven true.
Wow.
These heroes are the true forms of the Titans.
Yeah.
Before they attain their
This is just a confirmation of one, like, was kind of, like, teased to us since last time, but, like, yeah. Anaxagoras proven correct.
If so, the chosen one of death that he speaks of is actually...
Pelixia? Is the previous form of Thanatos? But her appearance...
Yeah, so she was originally, the Thanatos came from her. And in this case, is Castor's about to notice that her appearance is similar to hers?
If this is true, as long as we can find out where she went, we'll naturally be able to figure out the location of the Death Titan.
Oh, that's so true. Keep following the memories, right? Anaxagoras is so freaking smart. Do you think Castor's noticed? Because again, you can't not notice that she has similar ears. She has a similar kind of hairstyle. Even the outfit has like a similar vibe in some cases.
But before that, we first need to witness what ultimately happened to Lord Nias.
Right. We are now playing as Castors, which genuinely I think that this story is about to get a lot heavier, and I have no issue, I'm just being honest, no issue stopping here and coming back in the next one, because I have been playing for 2 hours and a bit now. It makes sense. And it's not just because I'm like, oh, like I can wait. It's like I can't wait, guys. I want to make that perfectly clear, but also at the same time too, as I will say, I have other stuff to record, but also at the same time too, I want to make sure that my mind is completely open for what is about to happen. You know what I mean? Because there's already so much stuff that's happened. I need to be open for this. I need to be like totally in the zone, because I think one of the bigger issues would be if I come away from this getting too much information, and then I feel like even now, like, I'll be honest, like, I'm going to need you guys to help me fill in some gaps 100%. There's going to be some stuff I forget 110% as well, so please definitely let me know if there's stuff I forget there as well. By the way, we can play as Castors, right? Well, I think we can play as Castors. You know, does that make sense? But it's one of those situations where, and this happens a lot in Honkai Star Rail, I'll be completely honest with you, but it doesn't happen all the time, because sometimes when we end a video, there's excitement about the next part, but there's a bit of a distance between that and the next part. Say like last episode, we ended like on this thing where it's like, oh, Don Heng and Hyacinth are going to go explore the Grove, right? And it's a really, really fun idea, right? It's a really, really cool thing. But then what happens is Oh my god. She's so cool. She's so sick. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Deal with this.
Emerge from your
And she
cocoon.
dissipates it with a scythe. No, she's so sick. You kidding me? She's so sick. But yeah, like, but it's one of those things where like we can wait to see what happens next because like there's not like an urgency in a way to it. But in this case, it's like it's not just an urgency. It's like this is one of the most interesting things in Amphoreus so far, and I desperately want to see it. But at the same time, too, I know how to pace. I've talked about this a million times, guys. I know how to pace myself with stuff. I'm always very good at knowing my limitations when it comes to stuff. Let's see. Do you want to see the idle animations? Me saying to you guys have already seen the idle animations. Oh. That's really pretty. Again, this love for life. But it's fleeting. Oh, we need a spacious location for this? They're like, you don't know what this is about to do. Please wait. Please check this out in a more spacious location. That's really funny. Actually, in Amphoreus, you can't do the idle animation. No, sorry, in Pentacon, you can't do some idle animations in the lobby because there's too many people there, actually. Let's see what it is. I'm sorry. I stopped that as soon as possible because, guys, I'm not saying it would have been a spoiler. No, they wouldn't put an idle animation as a spoiler, right? But like she looked like she was opening up a portal of some kind, and I haven't seen her like do that before, so I was like, okay, let's hold it off for a second. I was like, what the hell? Oh, look at her symbol, it's a butterfly. That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, I was like, we're gonna wait here for a second, you know what I mean? And actually, let's just make sure she can't do that. Whatever that was, I've never seen her even like come close to doing something like that. I know you guys are gonna be like, how it's probably not a spoiler, but yeah, you know, just in case. 100%. Guys, that is gonna do it for this episode, but let me go over in summary of what I think is happening here, right? And what I think could be happening here, because I feel like it's one of those situations where I will probably get some stuff wrong, but I think it's gonna be fun to talk about anyway. Hyacinth and Dan Heng went to the Grove, and they found a lot of research that was being made by the lovely Anaxagoras, and they found that like what kind of confirmed what we already knew, which is Anaxagoras has been doing some like studies of the soul and alchemy related to the soul and the idea of human lives and the Titans, and he's also been studying the Chrysoseirs and where they came from and why they're here and and why they were chosen to be Chrysoseirs. But not only that, studying the Titans. Okay, you know what? Let's be smart about this. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'd love to stand here, but like, there's so many enemies around here. It's going to continue to happen.
All this free time, why not make the most of it with a
You can all stare at Aventurine. I know, what a punishment. You have to stare at the beautiful Aventurine. Not the Casters isn't beautiful, but you know what I mean. But where was I left off there? About the study of the Titans, right? He was studying the Titans, and basically I think he was doing a lot of taboo research into the connection of humans and Titans, and we found out that like in the end his hypothesis was trying to find out where the Titans came from and what are they, and how are they related to humans and all this stuff. And I think that like it's one of those things where he very clearly was doing stuff that like I don't fully agree with, right? I want to make that perfectly clear. Like, I sound like I'm praising him too much maybe sometimes, but that's just because I actually think he is one of the most interesting characters ever. He's so interesting to follow around, but he's not, I just don't think that he's evil is what I'm saying. I think that what we had here with the, when he found out what his study was, right? What he was studying, it was all kind of like him exploring the idea of, and I don't know if he took pictures as well, it was exploring the idea of like, again, where the Titans came from, where the Chrysoseirs came from. When the Black Tide came, the true reason Anaxa headed to the Luminary Throne was to transmute and fuse himself to the Titan's coreflame, right? They asked did he succeed, and basically the idea here was that maybe it was intentional what he did. Maybe it wasn't a situation where like, oh, it's random that he adopted the coreflame. Maybe he wanted to do this. Maybe he sacrificed himself once again, brought himself so close to death that he could actually adopt the coreflame from Circes and be chosen by Circes in some way. They talked about here the how his research is still ongoing, and that was like one of the best moments in this episode, right? And I just wanted to make sure I was reminded. I was coming on to this point anyway, but like, yeah, all his research, all the stuff that he's doing about the Titans and the soul and where the Titans came from, why the Chrysoseirs were chosen, all this stuff. I love the moment here, and I said this already, where they found out he's trying to like go after Kepeli, and we found out later, much later, that he actually like was saying like, if I adopt or like if I merge with Kepeli, basically I can recreate the world maybe in like this new image and actually create something that's actually like really beautiful in that way too. They also talk about the idea of reconstructing souls. He talked about the idea of like either bringing souls back or recreating souls, or in this case we're talking about the idea of merging souls, would it be Titans. They talk about the idea of the story of Styxia and the dragon, and how that was like, you know, a merging of a soul with like a body, all, you know, all this stuff like here as well, with like the idea of the soul recreation and his study of the soul and what is a soul and what is a Titan and yeah, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all here, and we saw that here then when Hyacinth and Don Hong both realized that he's after Kepeli. And it's a pretty freaking amazing moment, even like, you know, in terms of a story beat. And that's when we actually got to see more of Anaxa and Circes and Castorus. And he pretty much confirmed his theory and what his theory was, which is that the Titans themselves have come from humans. That they aren't just something that plopped out of the sky. They aren't just these divine forms that were divine from birth. They are something that that became from like humans, and humans are closer to Titans than we even think. And I think this is like a really super important part of, like, it's the biggest part of his whole story, because I think that one of the things, like his rejection of the Titans and his rejection of the coreflame, the Chrysoseirs and the Flame Chase journey, is not that he doesn't believe in the gods. It's that he doesn't really, in my view, believe in their divinity as this like magical, out of nowhere, godly thing that was just just plopped in front of us. And I think he's using this idea of like that, the idea that beforehand they were humans. Beforehand these divine creatures were humans. In the case of Thanatos, Pelixia, in the case of Circes, Calypso, they were in some form like more close to humanity than we even think. And I think he's using this idea to say, well then, if that's the case, then why can't I do that as well? Why can't we do that as well? I do like that Castorus and Circes do push back on this a little bit, as they want to kind of like be like, hey, you know, where do humans come from? How can we like really like understand if what you're saying is true? But that's the basis of his entire theory and then everything he's thinking about, because he saw the conversation between Naias, Calypso, and Pelixia, and through that conversation he was able to ascertain a duty for Pelixia. Pelixia was going to take on the Death Titan. They talked about Kaus already taking on a Titan, I believe. Naias will take on the role of the Strife Titan, Nicodor. Like, there's all these things here that like led him to believe that this was true. And then in a way, his study of the soul and his study of the merging of souls, how souls can merge with like Titan, because he even found out that like the souls of the Chrysoseirs were closer to Titans than they were closer to the creation of Titans. So it's not that Titans created the Chrysoseirs in a like this kind of divine creation. It's more that the Titans were from the Chrysoseirs. So I'm wondering if it is, I don't think it's a chicken or the egg situation, but do you think it's one of those situations where the divine blood that's coursing through the Chrysoseirs is that divine blood because they became Titans? So it's actually more of a case that like maybe the divine blood coursing through the veins of the Titans actually came from the Chrysoseirs? Does that make sense? Maybe I'm just like, you know, bullcrapping there as well. But there's a lot that goes into this. But that's my understanding of his theory. Not his theory, like what seems to be fact. Titans came from humans. Their divine form wasn't just out of nowhere. He was studying the soul and studying the idea of where the Titans came from, why the Chrysoseirs were chosen. He did an experiment on himself to meld with Circes, intentionally so, and then also now wants to do the same with Kepeli, so he can become the world-bearing Titan and recreate the world in a different image. That's my whole theory on what he's thinking about here. He was doing soul recreation on the basis that he that not only could he understand the soul, but also now that he could use the soul to meld a Chrysos heir or a human to the soul of either a Titan creation or a Titan itself. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's my idea of what the story is. Sorry I'm all jumbled up here because there's a lot that goes into this too. He brings Castros along, of course, and then makes a deal with her to basically find the Death Titan for her. And I think in return it is like, hey, you have to be on my side during this. I think that's what it was. But we had this whole thing then with Aglaia, Finon, and Stell, and also the return of the Flame Reaver, right? Mydemos sent a message saying the Flame Reaver returned. We're not surprised by this. It's an amazing moment because you're like, okay, he's back. But like, I don't think anyone thought he was fully dead. I don't think anyone in that moment, and not because it's like a bad reveal, because even Finon's like, yeah, I knew he was still alive. It's not a bad moment to have him die there. I think it was more of a situation where they knew players are going to be like, this is a moment of relief. Because even the moment where like, I didn't talk about him being destroyed, you look back, I didn't go like, oh, he's gone for good. I think maybe I did once. Like, you're gonna, like, no matter what, I talk so much that like I would have said something once. You know, someone can go back and find a Honkai Star Rail video where I said that Elmo's not red. You know, I'm like, sometimes I'll make mistakes or slip up. It's gonna happen. But it makes sense that he's back story wise. It makes perfect sense. Aglaia enters into this thing to debate with the Council of Elders, but the problem is, the crowd hates her. The crowd dislikes her so much because she is, in my view, she is no longer close to being something that is human. She's more seen as someone who's divine. And because of that now, people now see her as not relatable enough. But Finon is a perfect Chrysos heir in her view. He is closer to humanity than he is being a Chrysos heir. He hasn't gotten the coreflame yet, so he is kind of like still closer to humanity in that sense. And he would be someone that could be more relatable for the people. So she decided to step aside and let him kind of like take the lead on this with Stell. And I think it's so interesting in that sense too, that Aglaia is someone who cares so much about this world and cares about the people. But she's able to kind of like ascertain this idea, like where like, oh, I know that I'm not going to get no judgment here or justice here, you know? So I'm going to let Finon decide our fate instead. I think it's a very smart move, and it's also a very good introspective move, because I know Aglaia cares, but it's about the perception of who she is and how close she is to humanity. She's so demigod-like now that it's almost like hard to really... She can't do her coming in here is like, hello, fellow humans, you know, like with the hello, fellow kids meme, I guess. But they have this really long debate, and I think it's actually like a really interesting scene, because it's very clear that the two schools of thoughts here are that the Black Tide is coming. We need to stop it. We need to fight back against it. The Flame Reaver is coming back. And on the Chrysos heir side, they're saying we need to fight back against this by using the Flame Chase Journey. It's the only way to stop this. Through the Genesis prophecy. On the other side of it, we have the Council of Elders basically saying that if we are able to stop death entirely, stop the Flame Chase Journey, stop the adoption of the core flames, then these powers won't exist in these worlds. For example, the power of death. If we're able to take the core flame of death, and no one's using the core flame of death, will anyone die anymore? And if no one dies, can we truly fear the Flame Reaver or the Black Tide? And I think this is like a very idealistic view of the world, because my thought would be like, even if the Black Tide can't kill anyone, you're still having it ruin your world. You know, you're not going to have it. It's going to encroach in the world to the point that, like, you know, you're going to be sitting down watching the TV and like this Black Tide's beside you. It's not going to be enjoyable, and you can still feel pain. Without death, there's still pain. Right, and almost some people might say that's worse, because if the Flame Reaver gets a hold of you and you can't die, right, you're still gonna like if you're immortal, right, and I walk up to you and I slap you 20 times, you're still gonna feel the slap. You know what I mean? It's just the way things go. If the Flame Reaver like can't kill you, but he can torture the hell out of you, you know, I think you're kind of in trouble there. You know, you can still feel pain. It's not gonna remove pain from the world. But what Kindness did here is actually like very, very well written. She played on people's fears and emotions. This idea of going back to the past. And as I said, this is something that happens in real life. We see this with politicians all the time. Don't you remember when you didn't have to lock your door at night? And it's like, yeah, but like, the other stuff was bad, you know? And it is such a true emotion. And I'm not blaming the people down here as well, but it is what Stell says. And I think Stell said it so perfectly. It is a survivor's bias. In more ways than one. Us not caring about the Black Tide coming near us because it hasn't affected us yet. Okay, what does that mean? But also, I think you can relate to what Stell said to what all these people feel now too, where it's like, I can't wait to go back to the olden times. And what's so funny about like when people in real life go, I can't wait to go back to the good old days, you know, the good old days. And it's like, yeah, but like, women didn't have rights. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just not even a joke, by the way. It's like women didn't have rights. And it's like, yeah, but I want to go back to the good old days. Okay, women didn't have rights. You know what I mean? People of color didn't have rights. All like healthcare was in the crapper. In Ireland, as I said, contraception and divorce was illegal. It's like, you want to go back to those good old days? And the argument people say is like, no, we can go back to the good old days while removing that stuff as well. But I think my argument would also be that like romanticizing the good old days always comes from the perception of like people who had it better than other people. Some people had it terrible. You know what I mean? Some people had it awful. The good old days only benefits people that have, you know, a place to go in the good old days. Whereas I think it's a fearful thing as well, because it's easier to be like, I'd love to go back to the past rather than look to something in the future, because again, the future is scary. The unknown is scary. And now Kindness also employed something very, very incredible too. Kindness brought Castorus and Anaxagoras to his side. What does that do for people? We said it as well, such an amazing tactic, because then it's a manipulative tactic, because now all the people go, well, even if Anaxagoras and Castorus are on her side, that's the case, you know? And it is such a... Sorry, that's my neutral voice for everybody nowadays. But yeah, it is 100% true that that's like the case, right? It is, you see that thing, and I talked about it earlier, so I don't have to do the analogies again, but it is like that thing that people associate that stuff. It's like, oh, if they're on her side, then that makes perfect sense, you know? When in reality, it's obviously a whole other story going on here behind the scenes. Anaxagoras is talking about the idea of like being able to find the core flame of death. Anaxagoras is talking about the idea of not having to rely on the flame chase journey anymore. And I think my view personally of Anaxagoras, and maybe I could be wrong in the future, I think he is using kindness 100% to get what he wants in this sense, and that is a full conclusion to his hypothesis, and to finally truly understand the value of the soul, the relation to us to the Titans, the truth behind the Chrysoseirs. I think that he is one of those people that will care about people. He will care about people, by the way. I want to make that clear. I think he cares about people a lot, but he also, I think in his view, believes that he can care about people in his own way, in this case taking over Capelli, and in this case also adopting that divinity, rather than using the flame chase journey. I genuinely think that he cares, but it's one of those situations where he believes that getting to the end of his conclusion as a scientific hypothesis is what's going to actually help everything in this sense. And he got Castorus to his side, and I think it's probably because he showed Castorus where the Death Titan is. Now she is using equivalent exchange to be like, I am now in debt as you, in some way. And that's when we saw the stuff with Castorus and Anaxagoras. And it kind of confirmed everything, right? It kind of confirmed that, yes, these people were the Titans beforehand. But there is like a set thing that's happening here with this character of Pelixia, where Pelixia was chosen to sacrifice herself between one of her and her sister, which could, again, because of the 1,000-year thing, it could have been Castorus. Like, it could have been, but we don't know yet. But because of this sacrifice, one of them had to sacrifice their lives, and it seems her sister was willing to sacrifice her life as well. Now the thing is as well about it her being possibly Castorus and her being related, I still think it's a possibility even if Castorus doesn't remember these characters, right? Because memory is a weird thing in this game. Memory can be taken away and grafted onto you, brought to you, and look at the stuff with this March 7th story quest. Do you remember that, where like they were blocking her memories in some ways, right? I do think that that's something that can happen. And while you could say, well, Calvin is fully doing that, well, there's a lot of stuff when it comes to remembrance on this place too. So like it makes sense that someone might not remember stuff or remember other stuff, or the stuff the way the Titans have forgotten and Cersei's forgotten about Calypso. There's stuff there that could prove to be stuff to do with memory. So I'm not ruling out the idea that she doesn't know these people just because she can't remember them or doesn't know them, right? You get what I'm saying. I'm not going to rule that out. I don't think it makes sense to rule that out. But it's still a very, like, I don't know. It's still a very interesting perspective that she has now, because she obviously wants to find the Death Titan. And what Anaxagoras said is so freaking true, and it's so cool. Because again, as we said, we confirmed the theory these guys are going to become the Titans. There was the whole thing with the sacrifice and the two sisters, her being afraid of death, Pelixia, and all this stuff too. There's all that stuff there. But what I think is so cool about this too is even if I am a Flame Chase Journey, I'm not a Flame Chase Journey supporter, as I said. I'm someone who supports the people on the Flame Chase Journey. But even if you were a Flame Chase Journey supporter, you look at what Anaxagoras is saying now, and it's like, oh, everything he is saying is kind of like, even though it's taboo, even though it's crazy, It's like every time you hear this taboo thing, in between it, there's like these not just nuggets of truth, there's gold bars of truth, where he's like, yeah, this will lead us to the Death Titan. You're like, yeah, he's so smart. He's so smart, you know? And I love the dynamic that now with Anaxagoras and the other characters of him leading him around these memories and this stuff as well, because it's very clear that like he's excited to prove his hypothesis correct. He's so excited for this, right? 110%. But also at the same time too, I think there's also an excitement from Casterus. I think Casterus, even though she's worried about like how Aglaia is going to feel about this, I think the idea of like finding the Death Titan, this has been her life's goal. I think also the idea of helping Stell, that's a huge thing too, because she wants to find the Death Titan to help Stell, you know? So I think this is a big, gigantic goal of hers. Everyone wants to help Stell. Everyone wants to save Stell. Everyone feels indebted to Stell. Everyone loves Stell. So that's a big part of it too. But I think there's a curiosity from this journey she's been on her whole life, and also this feeling that she wants to help Stell too. I think it's a huge part of it also. But yeah, it's such an interesting dynamic having Anaxagoras bring these characters along with them. Anaxagoras is a character, as I said before, I think he is a character we don't know fully yet, just like we don't know every single character yet. But to give my analysis on a few of these characters before we go any further with the story, guys, and you can please fill in the holes if anything I forgot, 110%. Thank you so much for doing that. I always see these stories as me walking along and you coming along with a net behind me going like, hey, you forgot this part. But yeah, the way I see it is Anaxagoras is a character who is not afraid to dabble in the taboo nature of the world, is very headstrong in his views of the world. We saw that earlier as he was talking about the idea with the fighting against the council, the 20 versus 1 debate. He is someone who like truly does like, is so strong in his beliefs, and it almost comes from like, his teacher supporting that as well. We saw that it was such a beautiful moment. His teacher was like, you have to go out by yourself and do your own thing. He's always been so interested in this stuff and the idea of the research of the soul and bringing back people's lives and understanding what the soul is. He dabbles in this taboo stuff. But as I said, he's a character that does care about people. He does more experiments on himself than he does on anybody else. And his curiosity and his headstrong nature really is what's pushing him forward in such a powerful way. It's not that he believes he's right, it's that he wants to prove that he's right. And not because he believes that he should be right, because he believes that this is going to help the world in some way. He's one of those scientists that isn't bummed out that if he turns out to be wrong, but if there's a better option, I'm guessing anyway. He seems like that type of character. He truly believes that this is the best option right now. He truly believes it's the best course of action. And also, I'm not going to lie and say he's this perfect character who's like, he's just doing it for the kindness of his own heart. I do think there's also a satisfaction about the fact that he will get to go, nah, I was right, to like the Chrysosaurs, right? And the other Flame Chase Journey people. I 100% believe that. And that makes him a fun character too. But I think that's my assumption of his character right now. He is a character that does care about the world, but he cares about it in his own way. And his headstrong nature and his intelligence and his research and all this stuff is leading him towards this path that is honestly very interesting, but again, very taboo in a lot of ways. Casterus' character is someone who is very gentle and beautiful. She cares about life and loves life and the existence of people like, how do I say, she loves the idea of people surviving, because even though she's so close to death, she values life because of that, because people shouldn't throw their life away. That's why she, on top of loving Stella as a person, she also sees this as a chance, I think, to save Stella, as something where she can finally save someone's freaking life. Right? Because she saw people die before all the time and she had to ferry them along their path. And I think, I said, there's emotional and personal things there as well, but I think also she saves Stella. It's also a big deal for her because now she's able to actually save someone. It's a big deal for her. I think it's a very powerful aspect of her character, in my opinion. She's someone who is, to me, one of the most caring souls in this entire game, but she also has a darkness to her where I think she doesn't even fully comprehend what lies for her at the end of this journey that she's going on, in this journey to find death. But I think her mind is made up in a sense that if she's thought about this for so long, that even if this ends up with something with her suffering or something or otherwise with that, this has been her life's dedication. This has been her goal in that sense too. And I think that her betraying Aglaia, quote unquote betraying, going against Aglaia and going against Finon and Stell, this is going to hurt her more than anything, As you can see her here in her voice, she was very, very upset. But I think at the same time too, she's also like going to try and explain what she's seeing here now, because she understands the importance of finding the Death Titan, not just for herself and the journey she's been on this whole time, but also for Stell as well. I think that's my assumption of her character right now.
Will you be joining us? Then it's settled.
I just wanted to assess those two characters because I feel like they're two characters that are going to be so central to the next part of the story, and we're going to learn more about them as we go along as well. And I do weep for them. So that's my summary of the story, guys. I know that there's some stuff I left out and there's some stuff that I'm going to get mixed up with as well, but there's a lot to this character and a lot to the story. I might even want to look over everything again for next time as well, but there's a lot to the story of Anaxagoras and the story of Castorus and the story of Pelixia, which I'm so interested to see where this is going, because, like, again, Pelixia's story, being someone who has told the story of the princess and Styxia and all this stuff too, and, like, we can't deny as well that, like, the location of Styxia that we saw earlier was, like, painted in purple. It looks like the kind of, like, same colors that, like, you associate with Castorus. There's so much stuff there. And again, I want to make it perfectly clear here. I'm going to put a message at the start of the video as well, because, like, I'm doing a lot of theorizing. If it has not happened yet, no speaking about it. End of. There's no debate. Your spoiler isn't good. Your hint isn't good. No speaking about it. But yeah, I'm so interested to see where this is gonna go, guys. But thank you so much for watching this episode, guys. Thank you so much for supporting me and coming along for this journey. I'm so excited to see where all of this will end up as well. And if you want to get these videos, this video came out on Monday. And you're watching on Thursday if you're not a paid patron or member, but that's okay too. If you can't pay, it's all okay too. I'm not going to hold it against you. Only a little bit. No, I'm joking. It's for the lowest tier on the Patreon, which is €1 or $1.50. If you want your name in the credits, it's scrolling by right now. That's €10 or $12.50. And if you want your name read out, as I'm going to do now, that is €15 or $17.50. That's every single video that I ever make. Thank you so much to Ty Faro 2, Jamie Bull, Johnny the Banana, The Ghost of Inazuma, Felicius Felix, Yuld, Anusta, Assassin, True Peanut Butter, Peter Shelson, Liam, High Kasparian, Jared Beanham, Neo Showerite, and at the highest tier on my YouTube as well, Royal Gamer 7, Blasco, and Lucinangi. See you guys soon. Bye bye.